dreaming, everybody.
Because she got a great ass. And you got your head all the way up it.
Hello.
All the way up it.
Yo.
All the way up it.
It's a good
all the way. I love that clip. It's grown on me. It's hilarious.
Have you seen the movie?
No.
It's a bit long, but it's a good watch.
What is the movie? What is the movie?
It's called Heat. You've seen that, right, Peter?
Oh,
Yeah,
I've heard
it's
of that.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
For
What?
for Al Pacino's chewing of the scenery, it's really good.
Yeah, well, I like Al Pacino. Watch it.
You know, I think I've said this before, but really quick, that movie was a remake. Michael Mann did a TV movie, the exact same plot, with the two actors playing the exact same roles in the mid '80s, and then he remade it in the mid '90s with the two best actors of all time playing the leads, which is De Niro, allegedly De Niro and Pacino.
Yeah.
And it's one of the only movies at the time that had them both in the same movie. Since then, there's been a couple others, but so you can look on YouTube. There's videos of the original actors from the '80s who are just TV actors delivering those lines, and then Al Pacino doing it. And like the TV actor, he's like, "I heard you got a great ass, all the way up it."
Totally different.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Hilarious. I got to see that now. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. It is Thursday, the day before Friday the 13th, which is tomorrow. And we're almost to Cocktober, but starting off spooky season, pumpkin spice is back. God dang it. And
Woo! Oh, white girls rejoice.
It's fall time.
Shit, nearly is Cocktober.
Yeah, it sure is.
You like the spice?
I do like pumpkin spice, yeah. I mean, I'm not like a fanatic about it, but it's good. Listen, it tastes good, okay?
Do you like pumpkin pie?
Yeah.
All right. Just wondering. Some people don't like it.
We just gotta check these things, We gotta check for defects.
Yeah, no.
You like pumpkin pie?
It's like, do you like pineapple on pizza?
Yes, I do. It's good.
Okay.
But we're here. We're going to be talking about creative stuff tonight. Welcome to the chat, everybody. Thank you for being here. There's a lot of people streaming tonight. But I appreciate you guys stopping by here because we're getting a little creative. We got some good conversation. We're going to be talking about indie comics, what it means to be independent, and the, I guess, controversy behind that. There's a lot of different takes out there of what it means, and I want to get your guys' opinion, what you in the chat think. Maybe we'll do maybe we could form this into a poll somehow and have some interaction in the chat because a lot of kind of maybe it's a hot topic. Is this polarizing? I know people are like, this person's indie, but they do this, so it makes them not indie. But we'll get into that.
Well, I think it's one of those subjects where if you present it as a binary, then people are going to argue to the end of the earth. But if you talk about it as a gradient, then people can probably agree. Because there's if you do video games, there's like indie games. Some of them are a person sitting at home making it on their own. Some of them are like Double Fine, which is a studio with funding. You know what I mean? But they're still considered indie. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. If it's a binary of are you real indie, then of course it would be heated. But I mean, the fact of the matter is most creators work. I don't know anyone who exclusively only does publisher work or only works for. I mean, there are a few people that only have exclusive contracts with Marvel, but it's a gradient.
Yeah. And too, like I think that. Sorry, Jake, go on.
Well, Maromi's saying indie is pretty much self-published. Here's the thing: some indie games can go and get publishers like I forget some of the names, but there's like indie publishers that are fine indie developers. But like it's also like there's probably a lot of image stuff you could consider indie still. Which,
sure.
Has a publisher attached to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, is it a style or is it a scale thing? Because what I've noticed, having gone to art school and all that, so what was defined as indie comics has changed so much, even within the span of 10 years. So when I was in college, indie comics was still stuff that was a little bit Robert Crumb-ish. So what's that guy who made the guy that did Blankets and Habibi? Craig Brown or something?
Habibi?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Anyways, it's a much more cartoony, brushy, simple style. Like, it was pretty, but that was indie. Like, that's still stuff that would be published by First Second or Top Shelf. But now in the indies, even though by definition, by distribution, stuff like what a lot of us are doing, like stuff, especially stuff like what me and Phil are doing, it's more detailed. It's we're going for high fantasy and stuff that mimics mainstream superhero comics in Phil's case, and it could pass for that, but we're still small scale. So we're indie, but that's not the definition of indie maybe 10 years ago. So that has changed even just within the spam of that.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll get into that. There is a poll in the chat as suggested by Snuggy Jr. The poll is, should we do a poll about indie comics? Yes or no? You guys vote in the chat there and share this out. Make sure you get your buddies to come in here and vote in that poll too. So thank you. We got Jaro in the chat. Maromi is here. Good to see you. Call Me Jed is also here. He says, if I learned anything in school, you're not independent unless you meet two criteria. One, you've declared it, and two, you've shot a man in the That's right. There has been red coat blood spilled on this day.
What?
You're right.
What?
Good twist. Good
twist
of words.
We'll get.
Well played.
There's blood in the water, as it were. So when we come around to the red coat,
the weekend
being I've been dehorned.
Snuggy Jr.
I've been British
five gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Snuggy. Let's see who got them. Cam got one. Call Me Jed. Jaro. Soul Curie Alt and Dark Gift. Getting those memberships. Thank you so much, Snuggy. You guys now have access to those awesome emojis. I appreciate it, man. You're the best. Rodin says, I saw several people who were definitely not native to the stream voting in the poll. Are we getting some sneaky people coming in and voting in polls? We'll see.
Some illegal netizens.
I don't know.
How do you see who's voting in the poll? I didn't know you can do that.
I didn't know either. But we appreciate them being here. We have Epignosis says, Jake, I have to say I really enjoyed your Carnal comic. Looking forward to what you have for the future. Awesome. Oh yeah. Thank you.
Epignosis, say if you, because I know you liked one of the tweets, but like, did you get the preview book, and is that what you mean? Say super quick in chat. Because thank you if you did. Thank you to everyone who did. And yeah, like I've been posting.
Jake, he's saying that you secretly finished it and sent him a copy.
Yeah, yeah. He's read the whole thing. He hacked into the PDF of all of the layouts, because there is a version of the whole book that is fully drawn and lettered. It just looks like crap. But it's like storytelling is all there. But there is a version. He said in the keychain. Yes. Well, thank you very much. I'm very glad you enjoyed it. We're launching next month. And yeah, I've got pages to draw and color before we launch. So hopefully that goes well. But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you everyone who got it. And I hope you're all as looking forward to it as Epignosis is. I say as I drool everywhere.
Well, let's
leave up my story for a bit. But
yeah, speaking of drool, should we get into how everybody's week or day has been? If you want to start, take this away, Jake. How's your day been?
Sure,
buddy?
So I woke up. I rolled around in bed amidst like a sea of Monster Energy cans, and I thought to myself, you know what? I think I need to drink another few thousand Monster Energies today. So I went to the fridge, which is all monster energies. There's nothing else. There's no food because what's the point? I mean, you've got sugar, you've got caffeine. It's all you need. There's some B vitamins in there, like rattling around. So, I drank a couple of 1, 2, 3. I got onto like a couple of hundred, and then I was like, huh, my tooth kind of hurts a little bit.
Yeah. Where was the tooth? Where's the
hurts.
tooth located? Where in the mouth was it located?
It was located here, where all of the drool is currently coming from, and small trace amounts of blood, DNA. But yeah, so it started to hurt more and more, and I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'll just keep drinking more Monster Energy. But yeah, to cut the a long story short, I've literally just came back from the emergency dentist where I had a tooth ripped out of my goddamn skull. I've been detoothed, defanged. I am one. How many teeth do people usually have?
32.
32 or
38
something?
or some shit?
Yeah. There you go. I'm down to 31, and I have it with me, and I did ask Phil if it's okay to show this on YouTube, because it is a little bit of gore. But, it's medical gore, so it's, like, educational. But, yeah, I guess you could have a vote. You could have a vote if you want to see the tooth.
It's all about spooky. Oh, yeah. Should we do a poll if you guys want to see the tooth? We'll end this current poll with 22 votes. Did we do a poll about indie comics? 59% of you said yes. Thank you guys. We'll do a second poll. There'll be a total of maybe 3 or more polls today.
It's poll season.
Should Jake show off his tooth?
Because it is big, but there is a giant hole in it. But the root is surprisingly huge. But yeah, first time getting a whole tooth taken out, except for like all the ones as kids. When you guys were kids and you would get, wobbly tooth, your milk teeth coming out, like, were you responsible and like let them fall out when they were ready? Or did you feel that wiggle and suddenly get the hunger to stay up all night pulling that bitch out of your head?
I don't remember. I don't think
I clamored to pull it out.
You don't remember your teeth falling out?
My gums.
Not really.
Like a crazy person.
I remember them like when they would pull out like the little string that would be left behind, and you could play with the string of gum that was attached to it.
I don't remember that. I remember my parents would do the whole tiny tooth with a thread and then slam the door kind of thing.
They tried that. They did that. Yeah, sometimes
they would tie a
and
string and just have a string dangling and tell me just tug on it all day.
Yeah,
that was fun. Have you guys? Speaking of horror,
they really
do you guys want to? What?
Did you really do
Speaking
that?
of
You
horror,
pulled your tooth out with a string?
Yeah, just a little thread and just gong. But like along, if you guys want a real horror show, look up baby skulls teeth, like the cutaway of babies and children's skulls with all the rows of teeth in it is like legit horrifying. You will never see children the same way again. It's like a skull full of teeth inside their bones. It's actually really freaky. You're welcome.
Yeah, because they've got all their milk teeth and then they got all their adult teeth nestled in there, just waiting to break.
It's in their skulls. Like over here, it's like just like teeth in the bone.
Yeah, they're pretty.
You're welcome.
Oh god, this
is you can probably pull that one up. It's totally educational.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. Let's see here.
Should Jake show off his tooth? Sure. See what the
look at this.
Going.
Toddler
50-50 right
X-ray. Now. Terrifying. Whoa. That is all. Look at
that is funny. Damn it. I hate
that. I like how Phil's like, that's funny. Oh.
It's like
they go, they're evil. Kill him.
No, it's like they're crystals. Kind of, it looks like weird
Screen share me.
gems. That's freaky. Do you remember those the tooth fairies from the Hellboy movie, the first one, I think, where they would like eat everything and then like take your teeth out? You remember the tooth fairies from Hellboy? Did you guys see Hellboy? Fairies.
Yes, I don't remember the teeth fairies.
Yeah, the tooth fairy. Look at this guy. Whoa.
I've got screen share what I'm sharing. I've got even better ones.
Look at this guy.
Oh, that's not.
Those evil
That
bastards.
tooth fairy is not nearly as scary as this shit.
They're kind of cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an actual skull?
Yeah, I think it's like a replica. I don't think it's a real one. But look at the ones on the side.
Look at them nestled in, ready to activate, like their bullets
A little
loaded into.
mini
Oh
one.
God. Yeah, it kind of triggers my trypophobia or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Your fear of holes.
You'll never
tiny
see
holes.
children the same ever again. There's Phil's one. Yay!
Phil, you can't be straight if you have that.
Really? Damn it.
I think
Yeah,
that's
fear of
just the
holes.
normal thing.
Well, I tried. It was a good run,
I see
boys.
what
I tried to be straight.
I see what you did. Fear of holes.
Looks like a baseball candy corn. Yeah, I also hate candy corn, so
Well then.
it's so ugly.
How is the vote going on Show Tooth?
It's pretty close, 57% right now to a 43%. We got my brother here. He says that here's a tip: put a pinch of sage in your boot, and all day long, a spicy scent is your reward. Appreciate that.
Cool.
Dropping the knowledge there.
Does that get rid of like tooth pain if the monster energy is dissolved a hole direct to your nerve ending and then
It helps with your gout. All right, we're gonna end this poll.
Okay, on the medical form, they had a list. They had a list of all the stuff. It was like, do you have HIV? Do you have heart palpitations? Like all that kind of stuff. All of it was no, except for one. Listed on the list was the fabled gout. So I was able to have my one badge of honor. My one yes is always the gout condition, which is on the list. Yeah, press X for gout. I'll mash that key. I'll mash that X.
That's weird. Why do they ask you if you had gout? It's not like a
No,
disease.
it's one of those things that comes up. It's always on those lists.
I've never seen that.
It is a disease, I think. Is gout a disease?
I
It
don't know.
probably is.
Is gout a disease? Well, isn't like alcoholism a disease too? Like a disease.
Yeah, disease has a
says-
wide
yeah.
range of definitions.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
not
medical
only
condition.
it's not only a disease. It's AI overview from Google says yes, gout is a chronic disease that involves
It's even
the
worse.
buildup
It's
of
like
uric
chronic diabetes.
acid and foot crystals.
Yeah, man. That's why the women love me. Women love crystals. I'm like, ladies, I have abundance of crystals right here on my big toe.
Never
And you
mind.
just whip out your foot. You're like, look.
Just in my big toe.
Yeah.
Do you
like,
remember? What was that? Courage.
anyone have uric acid crystals as their birthstone?
Yeah, this is
How romantic.
when Jake's gout flares up too much. This is basically what he looks like. I don't know if you guys have experienced this. So much crystal,
Oh, that's not good.
big foot. Big
What is
foot
that
boy.
from? What is that from?
It's from Courage. The
Isn't
Cowardly
really
Dog.
bad gout supposed to lead to like whole ass swollen feet and swollen knees and just like swollen joints?
I don't know. I've never dealt with it. I never had gout.
The only
She was
the
definitely
only way I
asking
knew
you.
about gout. Yeah.
Maybe I have gout.
Only-
My foot was hurting earlier this week. I think it's I need new shoes, but maybe it's gout.
That's probably it. You probably just need new shoes. Are you still growing at 30 years old? Phil's still
No, I think
growing.
I'm done. But
He's just going.
But if you grow that, he's had enough. He's had enough.
I'm through.
8 feet tall.
Oh, speaking of, we'll end the poll in a second. We got 26 votes right now. But did I show you guys this? What I got last week for my my birthday? Did I show you this already? My Cowboy Bebop record.
Ooh,
It was your birthday?
nice.
Oh my god! Yeah, so we're over this like 2 weeks ago, people. Yeah, I got this cool record with my.
Happy birthday, Phil.
And then I had friends over on Saturday, and then I played the record.
Nice. Oh,
Jake's dead.
bye, Jake. Yeah.
I people came over, and then I played the record, and then they watched me. I guess I'll do my week now that Jake's dead. Oh, here's Jake. I had people over. We played this record, and they watched me make a trailer for another comic book creator that we all know and love. So that trailer will probably be dropping soon. It's pretty fun.
Nice.
All right.
So I'm excited about that. So yeah, I worked on that this past weekend. That was pretty dope. And then, I saw Beetlejuice. Anybody see that?
No.
No,
I saw Deadpool and
but
Wolverine, though.
I might have seen.
You saw
You
Deadpool
saw
3?
Deadpool? I
already?
see Deadpool 2. It was 3.
Yeah,
I
because
saw it.
everyone was
Ooh.
saying it was good.
What did you think, Irene? Go.
Did you think it was good?
I thought it was good. I think, okay, so the character development wasn't quite there. Because I didn't see Deadpool 2, I saw Deadpool 1. And the arc itself for Deadpool, it wasn't really there. It was very external. It was he wanted something, so go through the steps of getting something, right? The depth wasn't really there, but it was a lot of fun. It was genuinely fun. I was laughing out loud at multiple points. Of course, like Deadpool and Wolverine's interactions were fun and hilarious. I liked Cassandra, though I never felt like it was one of those world-ending stakes, but I don't think they established it enough to make me really care, even though I think her actress was very, very good. The acting for her was really fun. Like, I liked her whole mannerisms, her idea as a villain. So I think the depth of the writing wasn't there, but it was enjoyable. It was good entertainment.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad Gambit was there. I enjoyed Gambit. He was funny.
Oh, that's so weird! But it was so weird! Channing Tatum as Gambit? Okay, Phil.
Taint Man?
Did you like that?
Yeah, I mean,
Because it weirded me out because he doesn't fit Gambit. He doesn't look like Gambit. His accent was all weird.
Well, it's
was that the point?
I didn't tell if it was supposed to be.
Was he supposed to just
thing,
be a weird Gambit?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't know, 8 years ago, he was cast to play Gambit in a standalone movie when Fox still had the rights to X-Men. And I was weirded out about it back then. I'm like, oh, there's so many other people that would be better. But the movie kept getting delayed and then canceled. And then for him to pop up in this film was actually kind of cool because it's just been so long and rumored, and he seemingly has a lot of passion for the character. But I think they did it in the most perfect way because Deadpool makes fun of it. He makes fun of the accents. They play into that. It was cool. I think the action was actually super dope. Like in any other film, you wouldn't have actually seen like Gambit blowing people's limbs off. Because this was R-rated, they were able to do that. And then the action was really cool. The only thing I think would have made this appearance for him better, and they dropped the ball on, is the eye color, because Gambit has fully black sclera and red like iris. So
That's true.
they didn't do that. You know, I don't know if he has an issue with contact lenses because those are super easy to get. They have sclera lenses. I wouldn't even have
can't wear
bothered.
contacts. I can't.
Yeah, like some people can't wear contact lenses, but it was cool. Now there's like rumors that he wants, you know, they want to do his own film. The Blade thing was awesome too. That was super cool. And
that was great.
Yeah, he had his famous line.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill,
Which is ridiculous, but they brought that back. Yeah, Blade was really cool too. So I thought it was fun.
Use of the word retarded.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was refreshingly R-rated. I was like, how R-rated are they gonna get in this day and age? And they went pretty far. I was proud of them.
They leaned heavily on the gay jokes. So, like, what? Phil.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this to you, but I'm gonna say it. I kind of think it sucked balls.
Okay.
Jake hates everything, though. He didn't even like do.
It wasn't a story. It wasn't actually it didn't feel like an actual movie. It felt like a load of stuff, and it just felt like they were having fun. And the stuff was good. Like, it was fun. Like the fight scene with all of the Deadpools, the dog pool bit, the nice pool. You know, some kind of affinity with that guy for some reason. But it just didn't, like, okay. His story is apparently his girlfriend dumps him because he hasn't done anything super cool. And then he tries to do something super cool so she'll take him back. But then at the end, and really, he should, if she's going to dump him over that, he should not give a shit about her ever. No man, you know what I mean? Like, if the woman dumps you for that superficial of a reason, it's like goodbye. Plus, her dumping him for that completely ruins the second film, where like he's making such a big sacrifice to bring her back into existence. Even like this guy literally brought you back to life, and you're gonna dump him over this trivial shit. Like, what the fuck, man?
She's a shallow bitch.
The plot was kind of, or like the motivation was a little too similar to the second one, and then also it wasn't really clear if this was a different timeline than the second film, or like a very similar one, and then because it was so vastly different where they're not together anymore and he's all emo, like it seemed like this was a different universe than the main timeline of the second film.
But they showed her breaking up with him. They showed the breakup.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Don't know.
It
felt like it was
better than Beetlejuice. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, it felt like 3 episodes of a TV show. It felt like 3 separate things stitched together. And I enjoyed it, but like I genuinely really loved Deadpool 1 and 2. They actually had great stories. They had all the irreverence, they had the R-rated stuff, and they had like the fuck you attitude. But they also had a very good story. This thing was like attitude, but without the story. But you know, it was cool to see them holding hands at the end.
Yeah, it was mostly good fun.
Clothes bursting off.
Yes, shirtless Hugh Jackman. Jagman? Who's Jagman?
Huge Jag, man. Yeah, Dylan's right. They turned Deadpool into a Human Torch levels of flaming homosexual. They really did lean on the jokes. But the thing is, here's the thing about it being 3 episodes of a TV show. The first act was all gay jokes. Then they went away for like the next act. And then they came back a tiny bit at the end. Like it was, they weren't dispersed evenly. But yeah.
I was laughing out loud at the film. And so
you would have got all the references. That's the thing. It's literally made for you the most because of all the references.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, I could tell there were a bunch of references, but I didn't get half of them because of course not. But there were I did catch a few Easter eggs, including the Liefeld's feet sign, and I enjoyed that. It was great.
Did you see that, Phil, in the sign in the background?
Yeah, the shoe store or whatever. Yeah, it was pretty good.
I gotta ask, is Nice Pool a real thing? Are all those Deadpools real, or did they make them up for the film?
I think that nice pool is just for the film. But yeah, there is the Deadpool core, and it's just everybody's a Deadpool. So yeah, a lot of those characters are from the comics. You know, I mean, they're not super old. They're probably like 10 years old or whatever. But Lady Deadpool, Dogpool, the head, who's the zombie head, his name's Headpool. He's got like the propeller, he flies around. And yeah, there was a Deadpool core comic ongoing for a while.
I think I have one version of it. I knew Deadpool, Deadpool, and Deadpool.
Your mic is weird.
We can't hear you, Jake.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. I have tapped the internet on my mic.
You're not supposed to replace your tooth with the mic.
Did it?
That might be clearer if you did that.
All right, we're gonna end this poll. 33 votes in the poll. Thank you guys for voting. Should Jake show off his tooth? I'm gonna end it here. This is what we like to see. Interaction with the chat here. 63% of the chat said yes. Show off his tooth. Okay. Hold on. Let's get everyone's reaction. Pear, we need you on the screen here for your reaction.
So yes, I've been drinking several thousand cans of Monster a day. It took its toll. I had to have it was hurting a lot, and I had to have it ripped out. And literally got back from having it extracted not long before the show started. There it is. Here's my big ass tooth.
Oh my god!
So much
Look at that bloody mangled mess.
Oh yeah.
Can't even look in the eye.
Like I don't think I'm gonna take it out. I wonder. I'm trying to get it so you can see the huge cavity in the back.
Dude, that
root. Said in chat. This has been a very disgusting start to the show.
Look at that thick root. Look at that thick ass root. Tooth. That's like a double root in one. It's like two roots together to make this. Hold on. Let me have a look. I can rotate it so we can get some.
Cro-Magnon. Jake, I think you're one of those Europeans with a high percentage of Neanderthal.
No, so some of the root chipped off. Yeah, that's why I have like the flat downs face. Like some of the root fused the jaw too. So it was like I can't get that bit out. It's fused. Okay, here we go.
Take it out?
Yeah, now you're officially British with your missing tooth.
There's the huge.
That thing's a weapon.
Wait, what if you tried to put it back in right now?
Should I give it a...
Would it
So
work?
put it in. New vote. Should we shove the tooth back in? No. There's like a whole.
Aren't you stitched up?
Yes. There's a blocker and there's stitches. So no, I actually couldn't shove it back in. The man, he grabbed it and he's like wiggling it around, and I heard the two snaps where the back root snapped off. You see this one? There's a little bit left in my head, and it will apparently disintegrate over time. But yeah, I heard the it's like whenever you hear like wires snapping on a film.
I didn't mean put it back in your mouth, Jake. You know,
put it back in where?
Don't make me tell you.
Wait, put it back in where? Then, if not my mouth.
So, congrats on the tooth. You know, I hope it wasn't too painful.
Well done.
Did they numb it? How much did they numb it?
A lot of stabbies. It's weird because you feel the stabbing going in, and you feel the syringe like moving all the way in. Is my microphone better now, by the way, or not?
Yeah.
It's fine now.
Because I know Jav's in the chat. Jav says, "Is Jake on Wi-Fi? He used to have such good audio and video." I know. I am currently on Wi-Fi in this room, and I am going to get a wire. I am going to wire it up. But I agree. I try my best to have good audio, and I know you're very sensitive to it. But yeah. But no, I don't. Phil, if you didn't want me to shove it back in the same hole, where did you mean to put it?
Don't worry about it. DLA has it right here.
Ah, the old tooth urethra, the old calcified trombone, or whatever the move's called.
Exactly. But speaking of urethra, You've been working on some Carnal, huh?
What kind of segue is that?
Perfect. Carnal.
Perfect. You know, that is a classic. Speaking of urethra, how about your dumb comic? Okay, yeah. Outside of tooth rotting Britishness, I've been very busy this week. This is one of the rough pencil layout pages, because this is the first page that I have finished of the entire book. And if I can switch it over, so you know, I'm gonna switch over to the final one, the final version. Here it is, the fully inked page.
Yes.
Way too much fine detail all over here, but I'm sure it will actually read. But yeah, so if you have a look, people who got the preview book, you'll recognize this level of detail on the pages. So you can look at the pages that you've seen in that book, and then you know, like imagine the entire thing this much leveled up from the layouts. But yeah, this was so fun. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. Like I love this panel. I love these asses turning around. People on Twitter enjoyed this, of this guy getting like squished and his brain pops out of his head, and like all of the brood mothers are like reacting.
That's awesome.
Like, except for Meat, who's
So
standing
much
here still
detail.
because she's so heavy.
That's great.
like
It's like you up the storytelling in the more refined version too. That's cool.
Yeah, like one of the bigger changes is like those two panels here in the corner, and it's like she gives a reaction and then shows her ass. It just seemed like a much better use to just make it one panel, and kind of like combine all of the things. It's changed a little bit. Like,
And you
even
kept the
lettering
ass, which is the more.
There's so
important
many asses. Look at this. There's 1, 2. Do we have look at Hitler Blockhead over here with a little. So there's 2 asses. Then there's 3. Another one over here. Hey, you know what? There's even that many asses. There's only 3. Oh wait, there's
That's
this area.
front ass right there, up there at the.
Yeah, a couple of front asses, but it's the front ass back ass combo. I suppose you get both. But yeah,
we do have a special guest here that just hopped in.
Oh.
I wonder why he came. I bet he was allured in by this very page. That must be the only reason he's here.
Speaking of ass,
She got a great ass. And you got your head all the way up it.
All the way up it.
I'm like a moth to the flame.
he's being drawn in.
No nipples, but ass is okay.
Did you say muff to the flame?
Obviously.
A muff. Oh boy.
What's up,
Welcome,
Michael?
What's up? What's up, peeps?
Thanks
Michael,
for
I have
being
my
here.
tooth ripped out of my head today.
What happened?
It dissolved.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I've dissolved it in
just
15 gallons. Well, I show Bancroft the tooth.
Yeah, you got to show him.
So yeah, literally got back just before the show from the dentist, having my tooth clawed out of my head.
I feel like they should demonetize the stream.
I know. This is not. You're not earning money on.
I
this
actually
too,
have
so.
a bit of a thing for pulling teeth. I pulled all my kids'
You have
teeth.
a thing.
Yeah,
Every single tooth in their head.
every single one. No, there was one that came out. She came back from school one day and she was like, "I'm sorry, it just fell out." And you know, I was like, no, so there's one
Sorry,
You
tooth.
didn't let me pull it?
I love it. You yank it, you twist it, and you pop it out.
Did you?
Well, as a kid, I pulled all of mine out of my head whenever they were a bit wiggly, and I would stay up
me
all
too.
night. Like, it was beautiful. The pain.
Now I get to do it again, but with their teeth.
Oh my goodness! Did you
You
see
guys are weird.
The pain.
Did you see these baby teeth with their 80 teeth in their face?
Yeah, children's skulls look so weird. It's like
No,
all
but
gross
that's a
with rows of
deformity.
teeth
Like
inside.
there shouldn't be that many.
That's a dream
No.
come true for you, though.
The ride,
I would love
Rob
that. Yeah,
Liefeld
there's actually photos of one that isn't deformed, where they've chopped a child's skull through.
Jesus.
Well,
Why are they doing
obviously
that?
the child had already died, And you could see the baby teeth and the adult teeth. It didn't look like that, thankfully.
Oh, thank
But
God.
still.
Henry Beavis says muff to the flame sounds pink.
I said a muff. A moth.
A muff to
There
the flame. Amber crown. It's a day of terms being invented.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's what it should look like.
It's like
it's just two
predator.
rows, but it still looks rather gnarly.
It is a condition that people are born with too many teeth. Double rows, or they just have tons of teeth and stuff. It's a thing.
Wow.
I've looked into it.
Wow.
To the cliff with them. That's what I say.
Some babies are born with a full mouth of teeth. Infant, newborn.
Oh, ouch.
Have you seen the
you
fish?
say that. Yeah, it's funny. You should be repulsed by that, Rainy, because the Chinese would kill them when they were born.
Damn.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not
They're cursed.
repulsed by it. It's like that would hurt the mom.
Your people. They thought the same thing.
I disavow many things that my people have done. So don't put this
I don't know if they're
evil on
still
me,
doing it,
sir.
but I know they
Don't
did
put
do
that evil on me.
Hey, Bancroft, have you seen the fish that has really human teeth? They call it like the ball muncher or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Ball muncher?
Yeah.
Ball
Because it
muncher?
bites the testicles of scuba divers.
No, does it?
Does it actually do that?
Yeah. It pops nuts.
I believe
You
it.
should go scuba diving and test it out.
Look at them.
Oh, gross.
When
Freaky. Ooh.
when Pear tells a story, it always sounds fake.
I know. I love it. I was just talking to my girlfriend about Pear. I'm like, I think he's either secretly really funny or I don't understand you, Pear.
Yeah,
I was comparing you to Theo Vaughn. Like,
no, I would compare him
tell
to
stories, and I
Norm
can't
Macdonald.
tell if they're Norm Macdonald. If you're making something up.
Did you have your Russian parentage scrubbed from the internet and your name changed from like Strakovic to Theo Vaughn?
Yeah, that's what happened. He's your stories remind me of Norm Macdonald stories or Theo Vaughn stories.
You know what? One of this acquaintance in college, he's like, I'm fascinated by the way you eat, Pear. And he was just staring at me while I was eating. And I was like, I'm eating totally normally. You're creeping me out a little bit. But that's just, I don't know. That reminds me of what you're saying there.
All right.
That guy's serving 20 to life right now.
Yeah.
You make a lot of noise when you eat.
He's like, continue to eat. I try to not make any noise because I hate it when other people make noise.
Oh, that's great.
I probably do, though.
Like Camel's sad
Full
because he's
approval.
never invited on.
He came on once.
Camel's left out.
Yeah, you were on
So
once.
Oh no.
So whose weekend was that? We didn't get to Pear's.
We went through yours and only yours and Jake's.
Well, you watched
Yeah.
Deadpool. What else did you do?
Yeah,
Aaron?
I only talked about you didn't officially ask me what my week was. I just started going off about Deadpool. My week was productive, actually. Oh gosh. Well, first of all, the Spanish edition for Fiendish One is in.
Oh yeah, pull that up.
Got a big screen. So, look at this little baby. They're already here. Look.
Aye.
Part of them. They're little and adorable, and they are little. So here is the full size, regular, like a normal American comic size. Then this Spanish edition is digest size. So it's like large manga size basically. But I thought it would be cool. My intention was to print it like it was a large manga size and digest size, which is like the size of Reader's Digest. Some magazines are printed like that. It's almost the same size as large manga, and it's actually perfect. It reads really well at this size. I was flipping through it. See, it's the Spanish edition, and I realized that honestly, if this was always my intention because I started out with a more manga influence. So printed at this size and with this pacing, and I also printed in black and white because in Latin America, people are more used to manga, so it's not as much of a problem to not have the comic in color. Whereas for USA audience, people are more used to color, so I eventually got the comic colored, and that was a stretch goal for the first campaign. But like, this is totally fine for. Oop, there's a boob there. Don't show that. Yeah, this is fine for a Latin American audience. I try to customize things for different audiences. So, anyways, this is cool, and it feels almost like I'm reading it how I originally intended it. Not that I'm not happy with how the series has become. I think after chapter 2 especially, it became a lot more like European fantasy comics, which is great, but this is still a cool experience. So the plan is every volume I'll be printing a Spanish edition, just a really small print run. I'm planning on doing at least a couple of shows. I'm going to be at one show in El Paso at the end of the month. It's called Confront. It's in El Paso / Juarez, pretty much the same city. And I'm not doing SOFA, the show in Colombia this year. I registered too late. I really need to get on that. I need a goddamn manager. But next year I will be at SOFA. So for those shows, I'll be bringing the Spanish editions of Fiendish.
Can you read some for us live on air in Espanol?
Sí, el diablo.
So I'm going to butcher it, but
remember to roll your eyes.
Hey, it's
hold
Spanish
on. I need to make this light not.
Right?
Just think Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Ay, señor.
Okay. Also, I got this light, guys. That's why I have all these colors behind me, and I'm very happy with
disco
it.
mode. Put it in Steezer mode.
Put it in Mexican
No,
mode.
I'm trying.
What's that weird
I'm
collection
trying to read, so I'm gonna
stuffed dogs up there?
Oh yeah, there's some Chiba.
Corgis, so I have just a pile of corgis on my shelf.
Don't let those Haitians see them.
No. Very different.
No, Sunday.
Ready for a cookout.
This is very apt because this Sunday is the first day of Spanish Appreciation Month. I don't know if you guys have seen this. We got some like Mexican holiday going on over here because all the cars are decked out with the Mexican flag on the hoods over here.
I have not heard of that.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. Shall I start? Shall I read?
Sí, señor.
De niño, Casimir fue el único sobreviviente. I don't actually speak Spanish. I'm learning a little bit, but I suck. De un misterioso ataque demoníaco en su pueblo Dorvo. Años después de
let me translate.
La masacre.
It says the child which much lust for life is enveloped in a mystery, something like that.
No, this is just a blurb on the back.
I'm telling you what it says.
Alex was saying that shouldn't it be the Spanish edition be called Diablo Lico?
I didn't want to translate the title. I think the only titles
sexy.
So I thought it was fine to just keep the English title for all the Western editions, and for the Asia editions, I have a Chinese name. I'm checking with my Japanese translator to see if it works in Japanese, but I don't. I'll just have like an Eastern and Western variant.
You should have named it El Fendisho.
El Fendisho. I don't think the chapter name. Yeah, we did translate the chapter name. The chapter name is Demonios, which is just demons in Spanish. So, anyways,
so that's awesome.
This is done. Yay! I hope it sells. I was a little nervous because I just did like a cold print run, and I'm hoping people buy the book. But you gotta take risks sometimes.
There you go. All right, Pear, what did you do this week?
I have just a little. I didn't do anything except I finished the third part of that Percival thing. So the Percival that episode 1 is done finally.
In script form?
Yeah. So I rewrote it 3 times, and every time was completely different. So I might be able to reuse some of the earlier stuff, but the third one's definitely the best. So that I feel reaffirmed that because I get paranoid. I'm like, oh, I've lost it. It's hard to write out. I can't do it. It sucks. And then if you finish it and you actually like it, then you're like, okay, live to fight another day, whatever.
There you go. Awesome. That sounds like fun. And our guest of honor, Michael.
Yeah, you got here in time to tell us about your amazing, exciting week.
What a week I had. Just so much stuff, things, everything.
Just stuff.
What did I do? I shipped out the cover art to Gary. That was the most time I've ever spent on a single piece, I think. And it was the highest price I've ever gotten for a piece of art. He bought that for $1,500 US.
Dang.
Nice.
What else? You know me, just
That's
working.
crazy.
Just working, just drawing and coloring and other things.
So you hang out with Rob last night. That was good.
I did. That was unexpected. He just popped in. I said a bloop, and there was Rob all of a sudden out of nowhere.
How was it to be finishing your book and finally getting out, and then straight away you're jumping and coloring a next book?
What else am I gonna do?
I know. At least you got something to do now. Like while you're writing the next thing.
I always think that. I always think, what else am I gonna do? What am I just gonna sit around and watch Star Trek all night? May as well do something.
Yeah, you got to do something, right?
Make a comic, draw, flat, color, whatever. Write. I was writing. I was pull out a tooth. I was I'm doing something I've never done before, where I have taken my synopsis of the books and I put it into a spreadsheet. I wrote how many pages I want it to be, that like per scene. So this is the scene, how many pages, what happens in the scene, and then I put one story note. So that's like notes to myself and notes to Joe. Any kind of subtext, any kind of points I want to bring up, anything that I'm hoping to do with the scene or whatever. And the spreadsheet is cool because I find it easy to just, maybe I want to move that scene here. Maybe it'll work better
for sure.
that scene. And then I can count the numbers up because Jake, we've been talking how I want to like get those page counts.
Condense that shit. Yeah.
Where can I, potentially lose a page or two, and condense it. So that's another thing I've been doing as well, and that's fun because it's crazy. I forget. Like I'll just sit down, and I'll just start writing, and then I'll be like, "The hell, bloody time is it?" It's just you get kind of in the middle of you're walking around a story.
But what are you writing? Are you currently doing like a fully fledged panel by panel breakdown with like reference images and stuff, or are you doing like bullet point synopses?
Not yet. It's sort of more of the outline of the scene. So I have done that for a bunch of pages, but I guess I'm probably gonna have to go in and
do it again.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Well, because I remember one cool thing that you told me about how you write is like you list the things that you want to get across in a scene.
Yes. Yeah.
Before thinking what actually happens.
And another thing I want to do with Joe, before we started this with Painted Death, but I want to get more comprehensive with it, is list all the questions I've asked, or maybe even left hanging in the story. Anyone might have. I might actually ask people who read it, what questions do you have? Like, what is most important to you to know? And then I can make sure, am I addressing what people are actually wanting to find out?
That's good. That's a good idea. Well, speaking of teeth, the creator of Platooth.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Platooth? What is Platooth?
Oh, don't ask.
Oh, you don't know?
It's the greatest film of our time, of a generation.
No, I'm a little out of the loop.
The Godfather Part 2.
Next, yeah.
Terminator.
The Tooth is the tale, the story of a tooth fairy who gets drafted to Vietnam. And while he's there, a new evil pedophile tooth fairy takes over. And when the original tooth fairy comes back from Vietnam, he has to correct the wrongs that the new tooth fairy has created. So it's it won 27 Oscars. I'm very proud of it.
Are you ever gonna premiere that again or do another screening? I could say.
They got burned. George Lucas is out there breaking every copy with a hammer. With the Star Wars holiday.
I think at least showing the helicopter scene would be.
Yeah, the first half is fine. It's the second half with the baby rape. That's when it's.
That's when you kick all of our faces. Just went.
I've never seen it.
Welcome to
I wasn't around for it, so I didn't know.
It's something. We were set to make a sequel, Plateeth, but we never got to it. So
we're all sitting there saying, "Are we canceled now? What's happening?"
Canceling ourselves. Yeah.
Well, we did have. People are saying Plateeth better than Citizen Kane.
It is. It is the Citizen Kane of our generation.
Wow, amazing. Well, thanks for being here, Cam. We're going to talk about indie comics, what it means to be indie, who is indie, and tonight we're going to deem who and who isn't indie. We're going to make a list, all right? And I'm just going to read names off of this list, and then I'm going to give you a thumbs up.
Making lists?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down to who is indie and who's not. All right.
Okay.
So you pay attention to my eyes.
I'm having flashbacks for some mysterious reason.
I'm just gonna glare at the camera, and you decide if they're indie or not. All right. We do have a poll to get to, but Sir Nate of Cal, look at this. He's back with a vengeance. What is up, brother? Good to see you. Hope you're well. For $20. Jesus. It says, been away for a bit, lads and lassies, but all of my favorite people are together tonight, so here's $20 to celebrate. Thank you, Nate. Man, it's been a minute since I've seen Nate. The king brings his lords. Look at that. Thank you, Camel.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nate, for not sending me $20.
Thank you, Nate. Here's a little bonk for you.
It never gets annoying.
I know. Many times.
Ever.
That white ringing there.
I love it.
Yeah. And Chimera, thank you. And this is just like the old times. One gifted membership. Thank you, Chimera. Appreciate that. The time scales gets that one. Tonight we're making Fieldner's list of indie comic creators. But before we do that, we did a poll. We have 31 votes in this poll. How is it spelled? Indie comics. How would you say, Michael? I-E?
I-E, not with a Y. It's not Indiana Jones.
Okay. Well, I misspelled it. Yeah, the chat agrees with you. 71% says I-E. Indy.
It's not the Indy 500.
Okay. Sorry. But indie comics, guys, I have some show notes here. By show notes, I mean message that I sent to the crew 45 minutes before the stream started. Let me see what this is. Indie comics. Where do you guys define it? A lot of people have been talking about it. You have I think Jake mentioned this earlier in the stream. It's more of a what did you say? Spectrum, Jake?
I think all creative works are on the spectrum in some sense. Is my mic working?
Yeah, we hear you.
Well, yeah, if you define like what is and isn't indie just by a binary, then people are going to argue to the ends of the earth. But if you just think of it as a gradient, like small indie, big indie, like in video games, they have double A, which people still class as indie.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's not one guy in his room.
Is there a debate over who's indie? Is that a thing?
People are saying it.
What people?
I think there is.
Everybody's like, oh, this guy's not indie because he's got a bunch of money, or this guy's not indie because he's publishing through Dark Horse, or
that
sounds
retarded.
Well, here's a question too. So, like, you have Image Comics, which
that's the only way. That's the only one I was thinking of that people have said that I've heard.
Right. So, like, you have what's his name? Dan Brown did a book at Image Comics. It's called Curse Words, with Charles Soule. And they're published by Image, which is a company, but it's a creator-owned company. So you own all the rights to your characters. But what does it come? What makes you indie? What if the publisher is paying for the printing, and you're not, and you're just a creator? There's people that are doing creator-owned property content at Dark Horse, like Mark Miller. Like, he just signed with Dark Horse. Is he an indie creator? Are people that own their IPs considered indie if they're not calling up printers and picking out card stock? Where is that line?
Probably like
my impression.
Go on, Irene.
What? Sorry, I talked over you. My impression was that indie is defined differently depending on the market. So, and what I mean is the main comic markets are European, American, and Japanese, right? I know we're talking about the American market here, though. And I think there are multiple definitions of what is indie. We can debate about this all night, but I do think that the general idea that most people would instinctively think of is indie is anything that's not under Marvel or DC, and that includes Vertigo and DC Dark Label stuff. That's still under DC, and anything that's like a Marvel spinoff is the same thing. If you own your own IP,
Spawn, right?
Yeah, I think in the understanding of most American comic fans, Spawn is still indie. Stuff like Ninja Turtles, Spawn, Walking Dead. It's indie that got big, but it's independent because it's creator owned.
All right. Well, the only thing I have to say, I understand that, and I think that's where I think Jake is a bit more on the money, because is mainstream independent? Are those two like oil and water, or do they meet somewhere and there's a gray zone?
Your question is
to me just means popular.
Mainstream means popular?
That's the sort of dictionary definition of what mainstream is.
Well, then maybe the duality of it would be independent and corporate instead of independent and mainstream.
Instead of yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's probably better. So you can be a mainstream indie, or you can be like an underground indie.
You could, yeah, definitely. I think for a while when I was in college, the mainstream indie was basically Vertigo and Image and some stuff by IDW, and then underground indie was stuff like Habibi and Blankets, and I'm sorry, I can't remember anyone else. Basically top shelf style. And now there's obviously through crowdfunding a whole other indie scene, but none of it has anything to do with genre or art style or quality even. It really is just reach and platform, it seems. So it's really weird. And I'm trying to not go on a tangent about how the American market is totally fucked and why is there such a murky non-avenue for people to get original works distributed. It's very frustrating, but yeah.
Maybe on the scale of all media, because comics as a market is so small, all comics are indie because none of them are truly mainstream media.
Well, that you brought up Spawn, Mike. You brought up Spawn, and maybe you or Irene brought up Ninja Turtles, where it's like, sure, well, especially Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles obviously started crazy independent, almost underground, and then shot up to be mainstream, owned by Nickelodeon now, right?
Well, it's definitely corporate.
Right. And corporate, I should say. You had big deals with Nickelodeon, films made, cartoon. It's a cash cow now. Same with like Spawn, right? So Spawn was created after Todd McFarlane was really big at Marvel, did it on his own with Image Comics, had a huge following, blew up. Animated series. He obviously made his own independent toys. So that side of it is still very indie, but I would say is in the pop culture zeitgeist that a lot of indie creators will never get into.
Yeah, I think that's too murky though. I mean, it's not important. First of all, I don't think it's important to have this clear definition. We must define what is indie and what is not. Like, draw a hard line. It's rather pointless. But I do think, in just the common understanding of most comic fans, the Job Seller has a good point. That's exactly what I have been trying to articulate and haven't. I guess it's more about, do you own the characters? And if you own your characters, if you own the characters, you're independent of this corporate control, and that's indie.
What do you think? Go on, Jake.
Well, I've wanted people to bring up, if it's creator owned, it's still indie, because to go to video games again. Sorry, I keep doing it. Valve is still a privately owned company, so if it's creator owned, does that make like Portal 1 and 2 and Half-Life indie? Like, it might have started out that way.
Video games are different, though.
Yeah, it is kind of different. Like, you could have indie companies like Iron Galaxy, which is a local video game company over here, and they were making the new Killer Instinct fighting game. What was this, like 10 years ago now? But they were being contracted to make it by Microsoft, who had the rights of Killer Instinct, from Rare back in the day. So you still have you see that a lot in video games, where you have a corporate entity kind of tasking out game management and development to smaller independent companies. If that makes sense. Which I guess you would kind of equate that to what Dark Horse is doing with these kind of creator-owned guys who have books like Hellboy, like Mignola, right? He's an indie, I would say a popular indie character, Hellboy, but it's published by a corporate entity. Would you not say that? I don't know. It's weird. I would like to hear from King Camel on this subject.
Well, first of all, you're all wrong. Every one of you.
I knew he was going to say that.
There we go.
Well, fuck you too, then.
No clue. So the 70s originated the indies originated in the 70s. American Splendor was probably one of the earlier ones. And, then everyone wants to quote Ninja Turtles. There becomes a point where the moniker of success pulls you out of the indies and you're no longer independent, irrespective of whatever you classify yourself as. So if you are making a ton of money, if your book or character goes mainstream, then you're as soon as you get lawyers involved and you get production management and you get toys and it's not really in there.
You've been plucked out.
Yeah, you've clocked out. So you are, as long as you're, regardless of whether or not you're the sole owner of the character, you can still hire someone. But if you're self-publishing and self-distributing, then you are 100% indie. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't think that Dark Horse or Image is indie. I think they are low-end corporate. They're, you know,
that is true. They are more low-end corporate, but I think for the vast majority of American comic fans, they would still see Image as indie.
I don't. I never did. I
think Spawn Spawn is their #1 book, and they have a lot of mini and maxi series that come out every year. They're anywhere from 4 issues to 12 issues. Now, you could, I think, make an argument that they are indie creators, but by default of being published by them, that's no longer a default, or I'm sorry, it's no longer an indie property.
Yeah, but surely in the case of Spawn, I mean, who's on it now? Brett Booth is the artist. I don't know who's inking. I don't know who's writing. It's a normal team. It's got nothing to do with Todd McFarlane much, I would imagine.
Well, I think Todd always writes the main line.
He always writes it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Todd worked. He illustrated, I think it was the first 12 or 13 issues before Capullo took over.
Yeah.
So even then, you know, it hasn't always had, outside of like what Phil said, like, yeah, I mean, I think he's always there writing it, but I don't even know if that's the case. I think at some point it got where he wasn't writing it so much as he was just overseeing to make sure that the story was coherent and worked.
Through the main line, he's had people step in and write issues. Of course, like Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore came on to write stuff early on. But I think as of late, he's been on it for a while. But yeah, everything else is interchangeable for that.
Yeah.
So I want to propose another definition. What I mentioned so far is, I mean, I'm just guessing at what most American comic fans would think of as indie, but I guess I don't know. Would you say that a better definition is, so there's a gradient from, of course, mainstream is Marvel, DC, that's obvious, but then when it comes to Image or IDW or Dark Horse, then all the way down to small publishers like Vault, or then us. Most of us are LLCs. We're small publishers. That's a gradient of distribution and reach. What is that line? And I wonder if you can draw that line at, well, how easy is it for you to get into stores? Are you in stores? Are you in Diamond?
Okay, so here's
that maybe
would be an actor. Let's say, for argument's sake, Ripa starts getting Diamond distribution. Okay, then he is deciding who he prints and who he distributes. Now, if he's deciding that he's going to print and distribute your book, I would say at that point you're no longer independent, because now you're having,
you get Diamond distribution.
What's that?
Oh yeah, no, I would agree. If he gets Diamond distribution, he's not indie anymore.
Yeah, so it really, I think, comes down to who's doing your printing and who's doing your publishing and essentially your fulfillment. So long as I have a foyer in the other room where I have to pack fucking Boots and Heels books, you know, when I'm you know, and slide them in my own sleeves, I'm always going to be independent until someone else is printing, processing that order, and whether they're mailing them out or you can find them at your LLC or local comic shop. Then I would say I would no longer be independent.
Yeah, and I honestly think that is the greatest barrier, because that barrier of getting into shops is hard as fuck, which is essential distribution. And you can go through Amazon and you can just, that's probably the easiest way, and through crowdfunding, but distribution is a huge challenge if you are independent and you don't have a well-known name on the internet or something.
No,
that's
and
really,
then so
really
like,
hard.
you know, Image formed, it was a bunch of guys who got together and said, let's distribute. If the 6 of us decided that that's what we wanted to do, and we created a label, and then we found enough money to front distribution, then I think you could start making an argument that because we're in local comic shops, and if we can sustain that business model to the point where people are making, money and we're selling books regularly, then you would say like, well, it's a small publisher, but I wouldn't call it indie anymore, because you're going to have.
Doesn't that include anyone who uses a fulfillment service?
No, I don't necessarily. I don't think so.
If you look at it like that.
I don't think it's
Podcast
about
room.
if you collaborate with somebody on fulfillment. I think it's about how easy is it for you to get in.
If you build it yourself and have that infrastructure for yourself, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I use RJ, and that's still Indy. Like he's a guy with a warehouse with a couple of hired dudes. I still don't have diamond distribution, and the only way for me to get into local comic shops is if I straight up walk there and physically ask them, "Will you carry my book?" But if that hurdle can't be crossed, I don't think that would be Indy anymore.
I think look at Pizza Medi. Pizza Medi was pulling talent. It was their books, and they were indie creators. But then they got published by Pete, and they got put in stores. And so it's like, is Alterna an indie brand? I wouldn't really call it an indie brand. It's probably bottom of the totem pole as far as officially getting printed and put it in stores. But it's legit. It's a corporation. It's so at that point.
What about Iconic?
I don't know Iconic. What is Iconic?
So
Iconic is Tim Lim, Mark Pellegrini, Doug Ernst, Eric Canetti, a couple of other guys, and they sort of moved. They kind of moved past crowdfunding and now they just sell books. They sell through their website. I think they have distributors and stuff. They sound a lot like what you're describing in terms of they're one above the kind of, I think what we are, which is you're kind of sending stuff out of your kitchen table.
Right, that's a good example because
they're not too dark horse yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're sort of in between.
Eric Canetti crowdfunded his Arcathena book, and then he made a deal with Iconic and Tim Lim, and they were the actual ones that fulfilled the book. Yeah. With their special boxes and that kind of stuff.
and so long as they took I can't think of the word, but they brought Eric on.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if he submitted or whatever the process was. Then it's like, okay, well, Eric's not doing it by himself anymore. So now he has a team. Essentially all he has to do, it sounds like, is get the book done, and then everything else is taken on by someone else. Eastman and Liard, they did their own book for quite a while until it got picked up, and then who had it first? Was it Archie Comics, or maybe it was Mirage?
Yeah, Mirage.
Now I don't remember if they started Mirage or if Mirage.
They started Mirage.
They started Mirage, yeah. And then did they have any other titles, or was it just that?
I think it was just that.
Yeah.
But all I know is that they were already a massive. They already had the toy deal and the cartoon deal by their 10th issue.
Yeah.
So even by their 10th issue at that point, they were.
And I don't even know. Everyone loves quoting Ninja Turtles, like, oh, it's going to be the next Ninja Turtles. There's no next Ninja Turtles. There was the first and only. It's the last. It's like, that is lightning in a bottle. It's unique to whatever that situation was. So, using them, I think, as an example of anything, I think can be difficult because it's such a, sort of exception to the rule, I think.
Just specific to the Ninja Turtles, there's no afternoon cartoons anymore. Like, even if there are cartoons on in the afternoon, it's not like every kid is watching them, or a Saturday morning or whenever kids watch cartoons, because now it's all, you watch what you want. It's all a la carte. You watch it on Netflix, you watch it on this. So it's not like everyone at school. I remember one day I came to school and everyone was Ninja Turtles. That was it now. And one kid had a toy and it was like, that was it, Ninja Turtles. That doesn't happen anymore. So
the market
probably
is
never going to happen again.
Yeah, and you'll never be like, oh, did you see last night's episode of whatever? Because it doesn't matter when something drops. Usually,
that happened to Camel and I yesterday. He was like, "Have you seen Last Kingdom?" I'm like, "I love Last Kingdom. I've been watching it for 6 years." And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't hear about it, But back in the day, that it was on television, prime time, on a Wednesday night, and everyone was watching it, Whereas now it's different.
Yeah, I think there is again, there's levels to it. There's mainstream, and then there's small publisher, there's mid-sized publisher, small publisher, then there's indie, then there's underground comics, and then there's zines. Like you can go all the way down to zines, because comics have zine fests where people print and staple their comics on their home printers, and there's a whole little mini like hobbyist industry around that.
Yeah, those people are weird.
Did you do that, Phil?
Sorry, I know some people that make zines. I love you specifically, those that I know, but everyone else, you're weird.
They're the furries of comics. We got Nate Callis with a question here. Phil, would you consider IDW indie? And I don't think you can, because, well, for one, right now, I just went to their site. They have Ninja Turtles.
They also print Ghostbusters and
right. Yeah, they're the ones I would least consider indie.
Yeah, they're
Power
the
Rangers. Oh no, that's not. Who has Power Rangers?
They do. Yeah, Power Rangers right here. Oh no, yeah, this is Godzilla Power Rangers crossover. So they're basically a licensing farm now, right? So like all the stuff that they produce is licensed IPs, which
and I think they started out trying to be a premium professional comic book company. That was their initial mission statement. So no, I wouldn't consider them indie.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure they publish a lot of independent creators.
Sure, like Lock and Key was an indie comic, but obviously grew bigger, and that's probably like their most like homegrown thing, but it's also a creator-owned book. And they make a lot of their money on these artist editions, collecting big, original art from mainstream corporate comics and then publishing them, right? So, and yeah, this is a great thing. I believe they're filing for bankruptcy soon. I'm pretty sure they're a publicly traded company, so you're always hearing stuff about their stocks not doing great. So
yeah, we could buy them. Let's pool our money together and buy them.
6 of us buy IDW.
If we buy enough, we could own it, and then we'll just publish our own shit.
That's right.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I always bring it. I always think about movies, which is not always the best way to think about it. But in the 90s, the movies had an independent movement, and it's also, I've heard like the way people talk about movies, the way like agents and stuff, they get kind of romantic about it. As far as like taking chances on like up and comers or young talent or whatever. And there's all these like famous stories where anyone, like one of the best ones is David Lynch. He made the Super Psycho movie, was his first movie. What was it called? Eraserhead.
Yeah.
And then because of that, Mel Brooks, the comedy guy, let him write and direct Elephant Man, which ended up winning an Academy Award. And David Lynch said that Mel Brooks had to go watch Eraserhead, and he was gonna like, if it was really bad, he was gonna like fire him or not hire him. So he was super nervous, and he smoked like 2 packs of cigarettes. And Mel Brooks walked out of the theater 2 hours later, and he grabs him by the shoulders, and he goes, "You're crazy, kid. I love you. You're hired." And like
that's what would happen with Peter Jackson too, because if you ever saw any of his stuff before Lord of the Rings, you'd be like, "Put this."
Yeah, that's the other one I always think of. Totally, Peter Jackson. So, and then I was thinking like, because I've thought this before, and I'm like, well, what do you even do? I don't even know what that means. Like, it's a mentality change, a little bit like from like editors need to do their jobs better or something. But the other thing about it is, it's related to the audience too. The audience being so open to Eraserhead and to Peter Jackson's early work, even though it's not technically like professional, it's also really charming and great,
Or look at like Sam Raimi's another example, right?
Yeah. And so to even give the audience a chance to like make that decision, I think that would be nice. So I don't know like how we do it, but it's almost like you gotta take some pretty darn indie stuff and just deliberately put it on a really high like pedestal or whatever, and then see if it sells. And
when I was in my 20s, I did a lot of the film festival circuit. We went everywhere. We went to Sundance and a bunch of others, and you see a lot of movies, you know, kind of come and go, ones that, you know, never see the light of day. But what you would see every so often would be, you know, we would see one of these movies that we'd see it, you know, at the screening. And then maybe 6 months or a year later, you know, like Miramax would put it out because it got bought, and then it got put out like that. I don't know if I see, well, that business model is pretty much gone. All the festivals are fucking tanking because people, you know, now the big thing is you want to get on Netflix, and then if you have enough of a following, hopefully you'll get a Blumhouse deal. And if you get a Blumhouse deal, you'll get like a regular movie. I don't know if I see that with comics. I mean, maybe that's what's happening at like IDW and Dark Horse, and like these guys are getting their books published, and then from there they're getting hired to do more mainstream stuff. But I think that there's a larger effort now by creators to want to own their own characters and tell their own story. I don't know if the itch is there for as many creators to want to draw Spider-Man or Batman or whatever that is.
Yeah, and I tell you where it is happening is in webcomics. Not to get out and work on corporate stuff, but that path that you said where some of these webcomics are so massive, they just absolutely dwarf anything that we would consider a mainstream title. And then they get made into anime, or they get published and they end up in Barnes and Noble's Global. They get, you know, printed as a manga, whatever they are. And there's been a bunch of them that are like that, yeah, you know, they've got 2 or 3 million followers already, just in the webcomic scene. And they get sort of, get selected. They get picked out.
Yeah, because I think about just my own, you know, personal interest. Like, if I had a deal tomorrow from DC, like, all right, we want 12 issues of Batman, like, would I do it? Probably. But at the same time, I'm like, I really want to do my own stuff. Like, that's, you know, I think it used to be you would do shit you didn't like, then you would get a job at mainstream. And then after a couple of years, it was like, okay, what's your passion project? Let's talk about doing that. And I don't know if that's happening as much anymore, because I can count. I can be like, well, I don't need to go do that. And, you know, like, I can make Horseman my Batman, you know, stand-in. And
your mic is cutting out a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think if it's feasible for creators to go indie and make their own thing, they would. But we're kind of in this weird place where you have success stories like in the indies, like Rippaverse, and like several select crowdfunded comics, and then you have, of course, webtoons that are really big. But for most people, it's not a guarantee to be able to make even make money, much less make a living doing that. So the most stable thing in comics is still working for the big two. So I think a lot of creators I see kind of being stuck working for publisher comics, even though they wouldn't, that's not really the dream, so to say, anymore for the majority of comic creators.
Even if you do somehow manage to get a success of, say, Ripper, well, then, you know, your whole world is different at that point.
Yeah.
Because now you're finding yourself, you got to have to be shipping and fulfilling thousands and thousands of books every month. So now you're a company, essentially. And so what do you do? And I imagine the same similar thing is for Polito. You know, it gets to a point where you get so big, you've really got to stop. This didn't happen to Ripper because he was already in there. But like, if you did build it up to that height, it would, you know, it would be a whole different thing. So people think, oh, like they look at Rini and they say, look, Rini, she made $200,000 on a book. Well, in reality, a lot of that goes to production and shipping and other costs and things like that. Mm-hmm. And you know, Rini doesn't actually and there's taxes, so she doesn't actually get, it's not like getting an income. So even the success stories, is to turn that into a viable living long term. It's like you've got to kind of go to the next level, and then you find yourself not really being the writer, drawer, creator that you were when you started.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. I want to put a pin in and get back to. You guys were talking about webtoons and webcomics and stuff like that, and how that's a whole other world than what we've dipped in. I know, Michael, you did webtoons back in the day, but there's it's crazy how big it's gotten, and you could look at some crowdfunding campaigns that have come out of webtoons and how big they are. We have our buddy Ghost House, who's done some work for myself and some other of our friends. His wife has an awesome webtoon that is family based, like family oriented, like parenting. It's like this very funny, cartoony comic called Litterbox, and she's been doing it for years. Has a huge following on webtoons, and she did a crowdfunding campaign for an animated pilot, and she's raised over $100,000 in like less than a month. And just shows you that webtoons is super viable. It's so different than what we're doing. And you know, the talk of like digital comics on the rise has been a thing for
I didn't even want to tell people originally that I'd started on webtoons, because it is such a different mentality here, where it's like you don't show anyone anything you've done before, because then the backers won't back, because they'll feel cheated because it's already been available and stuff like. It's like a complete different mindset than what I came from.
Yeah, I feel like as well, Western comic book fans, especially kind of like our backer base, there's a stigma against digital comics, against webtoons as well, because if you think of webtoons, you immediately have a predisposed thought of what it's going to be in your head just from years of it being around. But when I went to Texas and went to a convention with some buddies, Nick Patera was there, Chad Townsend, and Ghost House and his wife, and the people that came up to our tables, like it was overwhelmingly more to see that Litterbox webtoon comic. Like, oh, I read your stuff all the time. I love your stuff. And then they buy something from her. So like that webtoon fan base is out there also seemingly going to conventions as well. So that's a whole other untapped market from a lot of people.
And I heard, did I hear right that she started it during the pandemic it was her pandemic lark, but it like worked out?
Maybe. I'm not sure. That could be.
Rini, you're on webtoons, right?
No.
Global Comics, right?
I'm on Global Comics. I tried out webtoons, but webtoons fits they don't really fit anything that's too mature. I mean, I could put stuff on there, but I don't think it fits fiendish, like any blood, any sexual stuff. It's very family friendly, and which Litterbox Comics, the that campaign that you just pulled up, it's a family oriented comic strip, and that kind of stuff has the widest audience, and it's mega successful. And I think if there's anything like that doesn't have gore and sexuality, it would do well on webtoons. But yeah, I chose Global Comics because I like their platform and their reader, and they're more open to stuff that's a little more.
And is it? Are you pulling in an income from that, or how is that working?
For Global?
No, not much at all. No, it's just I just want to have a digital version now. So, recently this is a total tangent, but I've taken the year to translate Fiendish and also digitize it, so it's on the website, chapter 1 and chapter 2, and they're both chapters are also on Global Comics. The idea is just to get the comic out there, like just give people options outside of crowdfunding, and that's first step. And I'm not expecting a boom in income right at the beginning. I think you can't be greedy with these things. I'm just going to let it sit there and wait. And as the comic progresses, hopefully more people will come in. And now that it's easier to access, that digital readership will hopefully grow from where we are right now.
For sure. Nice. Yeah. And if you go, let me see. I know Fiendish is on here. You already have like a lot of.
I'm sharing the webtoon for Litterbox just to show the numbers we're talking here.
Oh yeah, check this out.
66 million views, 237,000 followers. Each of these are what they call episodes, which is just a post. And then we're talking thousands. Like if you go back to the beginning, it just keeps going. 12,000 likes. And I don't know, you don't know how many views necessarily on each thing, but
right.
I mean, we're talking huge. Look at those Patreon number too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's the silver bullet for growing an audience. It's the Saturday morning cartoon. It's the free, regular, consistent content that would sell the toys. You know what I mean? Like that's the free thing that they put out all the time. And then they can make that Kickstarter one day after growing the audience for all those years, and then boom, it's like a huge success after building that up.
And that really too seems to be the only real thing that is merit based, because it's like you're putting it out for free, and then people like it so much now they want to subscribe to you on Patreon. They want to help you make this thing that they enjoy, and that's really interesting.
It is, and I'll talk about
counterintuitive,
this a bunch.
right?
It is pretty amazing, and I always lament not having as much of that anymore. But having your comic on Webtoon is just, especially if it takes off. Like I didn't get anywhere near that, but I had 25,000 followers.
Yeah.
It's just people talking about your story all the time. They just want to know about the characters and the story. And
Mind share.
Yeah.
And it's great feedback too. So it's not, like a lot of the times here on YouTube, people aren't that interested in the story to talk about as much. Sometimes they are, and I love that, but it's hard to maintain. Most of the time it's about drama or art or whatever else to sort of get people here. And then, and I've also got a comic as well. It's a completely, it's the whole thing flipped on its head.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm here for the story. Let's talk about it. And then maybe you might want to buy it one day down the line. So.
And Nate here says, my fiance Hannah found the Lucent on Webtoons, and it led us to meet all you guys in Tampa. Yeah, that was crazy. It was.
Yeah, that was a kind of a real mind trip. That was great.
So cool. Yeah, thanks for the super chat there, Nate. I appreciate it, brother. We got Sark in the chat. What is up? Yeah, and over here, Dale A, I think, mentioned Earthbound is on Global Comics as well. Yeah, I recently put the first Lost pages on there, and I just formatted Magic Hop 1 to go on there. If you go over to the Global Comics, you could actually see you got Fiendish here as a page. And you could see the people that have viewed it. So Fiendish 1 over 8,000 views, and I think that is like someone clicking on it and actually going to the viewable comic. And then as a creator, it breaks down analytically how many pages they flip through, so on and so forth. So it has a pretty good creator-friendly analytic base, so you can see how much they're reading, if they're part of the website.
Like, I honestly love Global Comics' platform so much, and they are not sponsoring me to say this. I just really like the platform, and I wish there was a greater reach. But I know that they now have like almost all of Vault's catalog on there, and I think Dark Horse or another one of the mid-tier publishers just joined as well. So they are getting out there, which is really, really good. And what I like is, first of all, great customer service. Like, I just threw Fiendish up there expecting to be ignored, and the guys who ran the company reached out to me on Twitter, was like, hey, can we like help you and give you some extra tools? Like, it's great, but the reader is much more high res than websites like Tapas or Webtoons. So if you're used to physical comics and you don't like looking at your comics on like, looking like they're like 3 inches across and you can't see anything, and it's all pixelated, then the reader actually is high res and it looks good. And all the creators tool, the analytics on the back are very helpful. They also let you I mean, I can just go on, but they let you link to a current crowdfunder. If you have a current crowdfunder for your series, you can link to your page. So if you like right there, see,
right here,
you
this
can link
thing
to your current crowdfunder, and you can link to your website for your own comic series, your independent offsite website, and also you can generate a PDF for people to buy on the website. So now I uploaded everything formatted for the website, right? You can also buy a PDF. I haven't enabled this yet, but you can enable it on the back end. You can buy a PDF off of the website. So it's a really it's the most thorough webcomics platform I've seen, and I'm hoping it grows.
Yeah, if you guys like reading digital comics, definitely check it out. And you get access to a lot of DLA saying Dark Horse, Image, Valiant stuff on there too.
See, a guy in his room epitomizes why, when you go into this space and you're trying to focus more on crowdfunding, that it's just like, all right, what do I do then with the webtoons? It's like, what? The Lucian is on webtoons? Hope not for free, you. That's what. So, yeah, I had to take it down, even though I had 25,000 people subscribe.
Yeah, that's a struggle.
What a dummy.
What's complicated is I really want to get Fiendish out there, and the easiest way to get your work out there is by offering free content, but I cannot offer anything that people have already paid for, basically. So the reason I think Fiendish Chapter 1 on Global Comics has such high views is because I have like a 20-page long free preview, and this was original. This has always been there, even during the Fiendish 1 campaign. The first 20 pages were fucking free. So like people will go in and read that, and then if they like it, they'll continue reading. So it's good that Chapter 2 is it just went up earlier in the month or last month, and the readership is still slowly rising. So that's good. That means people are actually carrying over from Chapter 1. But free content is the best way to hook people, and it's hard to do that when you're already so busy with all this other stuff, and making comics is high effort and all that. But yeah, I've been debating what to do. I wonder if it would be a problem if I put out a translated version of the comic for free on like a whole different country's website, because it's not the original form. People who read English won't be able to read that. So I'm heavily debating this. It's not the original content.
I think eventually, once you're into your 4th, 5th, 6th book, I mean, it becomes prohibitive then to run a new crowdfund, run a campaign, say, hey, come and get the book 7, and you gotta get all the rest before. So it's another. I mean, you couldn't sell all that for 25 a pop. I don't think. Some people would buy it, but I think most people. So I think having it digital is actually a really good option. And then if they love it, if they really love it, they buy the physical. And I think it's just a matter of time. I think eventually I will reopen Waking Dream on Webtoons fully again at one point. Not right now because I'm still selling books, but eventually, maybe in a couple of years or something. And then, but also, give some previews like Rini is doing as well. I don't really see anything wrong with it either, Student of God, but I know a lot of people do, and I know it would upset a lot of people. If I would have just put the comic for free back up on Webtoons.
Yeah. And while we were talking here, I just got a notification on my phone that someone on Global Comics just followed me. So shout outs to whoever that was. That's another cool thing. They have an app that you can just download, and if you're a creator, you'll get those notifications. It's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. And they are expanding their they're expanding their formatting into like a phone-friendly reading format. They already have their frame-by-frame reading. They're going to do more of a scrolling thing. So there you go. The verticals.
Originals. And they're pairing with creators as well, like Bad Egg, who does Godslap, which Ricardo, who drew The Lost Pages 3, draws Godslap for Moist Critical. So they're on there. They got on there. So
I'm definitely putting the Lucent up there whenever I can get around to it. It sounds like I remember Webtoon took a long time to format, and it sounds like you have to go through and do something on every page to sort of set up the thing. So
yeah. So that's just another avenue. Getting back to what I wanted to say, or before we went off on that tangent, for indie comics, you were talking about guys like Ripa and Brian Pulido who have grown so much. And you look at Pulido, and he's still doing everything in-house. He has a warehouse. He employs people. He makes his own custom mailers. Like, he has Coffin Comics mailers. He doesn't use Geminis or anything. Where does someone like that fall into play, where now he's like this titan? He does put baseline comics into stores, like your Lady Death one or whatever. It'll make its way into Diamond and into stores. Where do you guys see someone like Pulido and probably Ripa's going in that direction?
I think Ripa's probably already there.
Yeah.
I think Brian probably I would consider more leaning towards the indie, because I don't really know his history, but I'm imagining he's more like Billy Tucci.
Yeah. They came up together for sure. Yeah.
From there with the comics, whereas Ripa had his audience and then said, "I'm making a comic book company," and then plonked it down on the table.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, Hamill would say probably not. I would say maybe. I don't know.
What's the question?
Whether Pulido is still considered indie, considering he's a basically a corporation under himself. I mean, he has tons of employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, his property isn't anything past Lady Death, right? Is that who it is?
Mm-hmm. Lady Death, and he has a bunch of new stuff as well, but that's his biggest one.
I would say he's the height of indie. He's the absolute height of indie.
Yeah.
Now he's doing a like side-scrolling beat 'em up game with Lady Death. FC.
Oh, I saw that. I think Limited Run putting that out. I can't remember who's putting it out. But...
They're the same company that's doing the new Phantom side-scroller beat 'em up. So
okay, I know who it is, but I can't remember. Like, so Limited Run does like Limited Run, productions.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they're doing a physical copy or not, or if they're just gonna if it's going straight to the PSN. But
Limited Run is the physical version of digital-only indie games. So if it's going through them, then it will be a physical release. But
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they're putting a physical out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that would be because Pulido, I think he would for sure say he's still indie, and he doesn't work for any corporation. He's the guy running the show. And
like if suddenly Netflix was like, "Here's your anime deal," and then at some point, like if the video game did get a physical release, and became, it really just comes down to like what the level of mainstream attention your product gets. And so if suddenly it was past the comic book, and because I think just having a cartoon and a game doesn't necessarily mean that you're not indie. I mean, Hail Salad is still indie. It's still, like regardless of whether or not there's a cartoon of it. So, but once it starts getting taken on by other industries and corporations and produced and this and that, then I think that's when you've officially crossed the border.
And also, how much ownership you have over the IP is a big thing, because Harry Potter started out as an indie title as well. And then they barely even had a publisher the first time. There was a publisher, but they didn't even sell the book. It just went into the library.
Right.
But now, who owns Harry Potter? I mean, surely Warner Brothers owns
every bit of it, yeah.
And, Rowling has some ownership and creative control, but, who knows what
she has final say. She does have final say on everything, though.
I know she has final creative say on everything, but full ownership, I don't know.
Yeah, it gets really complicated when something gets that big because I don't think it's possible for anyone to oversee everything. I was just thinking that this is a tangent again, but how different it is that how different our market here is from manga, and I was mentioning European comics in general. The European market and manga market technically are both are more indie or more creator owned, at least. Let's forget the indie term for now. It's entirely creator owned work because in the European market, comics are every series is something that an artist and writer or a small creative team came up with, and a publisher will pick them up and give them time to make this beautiful album with like painted art. And in Japan, sure, there's a grind to the industry, but everything is still creator owned. And Japan has this weird balance of the publishers do control everything, but everything is still creator owned. And having been there and done conventions in Japan, they're very, very big on creators' rights and IP ownership. So it's almost unthinkable for, say, probably the biggest manga / anime out there is stuff like Dragon Ball, but then the Toriyama estate still has final say in everything. That's not owned by the publisher or the anime company. It's still owned by the estate. That's still a creator-owned thing because they respect the person who came up with that idea. You know what I mean? And all anime and manga is known as this is something that's created by one person. It doesn't belong to Kodansha. It doesn't belong to Shueisha. It doesn't belong to Toei. It belongs to this one person. It's just distributed by this other company. So it's a totally different model, and I kind of like it. And I wish we had that.
That's interesting to know. Yeah.
It sounds like doing indie comics is better in every other country but this one.
Yeah, it is. And Japan has their own version of indie market, but it's a doujinshi market where it's people actually it's more clear where the mainstream is the creator owned market because everything is creator owned. But you know what their indie non-mainstream is? It's people printing their own comics. They don't do it for a living. They're not published by a publisher. You just go to little zine conventions. They call it doujinshi. So it's either fan comics or your original ideas. And if you haven't been picked up by a publisher yet, you're indie. You're a doujin artist. So it's very clear, and it seems to work. Why don't we have it?
You're a Ronin?
Oh, yes.
Doja Cat. What do you say? Who are you?
Dojin. Dojin.
You're like you don't have
Da Vinci?
a lord.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Well, I watched a video on a mangaka who he's one of those dudes. He has his manga gets published, regularly in the magazines and stuff, and he has to keep pumping it out.
Yeah.
He says my day starts. I'm out there doing layout sketches, out at a cafe, and then he takes that back. And his team then starts putting together, and everyone knows their job. Now, I don't know if that's a team that he hires or it's a team that the publishers give him. But it was about
there's people who have careers being a team member. They can move from project to project.
It was about 6 people, and they're like, okay, she does the clothing. And this guy does the backgrounds, and then this guy does the hair, and then the main guy does the faces. And they all had assets in Clip Studio that they would drag in the different hair, and then they would paint. It was actually really good art.
Yeah.
And he said
was
that,
it
and
Innocence?
then they work all day, and then that's the day. And he's getting I don't know, 10 pages out every couple of days or something. And it was pretty crazy. But I guess that's a reflection of how many people actually will read his stuff. There's he's getting hundreds of thousands of people reading his book, then financially it's worth it.
Yeah, most manga are created by a small mini production house of there's a lead artist and creator, and then you have a bunch of assistants, which is some of the manga assistance system is also interesting, and it is again something I wish we had, but like Jake said, there are professional assistants who have no aspirations of having their own series. They just jump from series to series. I just like drawing backgrounds. It's like an animation. It's like people in an animation where you're not the voice actors, you're not writing the script, you're not heading the project, but you just paint backgrounds. You jump from show to show, and then various other parts of the comic as well. But sometimes manga assistants will start out using a manga assistant job as training wheels and an apprenticeship, and then they keep pitching their ideas to the publishers, and if they can get picked up, then they become independent. They have their own series. Bye, Jake. So that also seems helpful, and it seems more functional, and it fosters talent. I don't understand why everything is so broken in America. Why can't we have that? Very strange.
Well, I would say it's a reflection of not enough people consuming and purchasing the things, because there's just the money isn't there to have big teams all the way down to the more indie level. It's just like
I think that's not all of it. I think there's a cultural issue in American comics where it's ego first, product second. And so long as you have creators stepping on each other, talking shit behind each other's backs, trying to get on books that they probably shouldn't be on through whatever means necessary, you're always going to have an issue where people are going to say, oh, well, we can't work together. And then nothing ever fucking gets done.
You don't think they have that in Japan?
I have no idea, but I can tell you that here, that's the issue. I don't know what's going on over there, but here, that's definitely a problem.
It's interesting because
I don't doubt that.
That mentality you were talking about, Mike, where not mentality, but that like workflow where you have this guy who's his book, he passes the page on to the person that does the clothes or the backgrounds or whatever. You hear guys talk about that, like that's how the late 80s, early 90s was in the American comic scene. Like you have guys from Extreme Studios where they would be doing backgrounds or inking pieces. Like I listened to I think it was Mark Miller talk to Jimmy Palmiotti, where he was a kid going to cartoonists houses and he was inking backgrounds for pages of like Howard the Duck, back in the day when he was late teens. You had that almost
we used to have
mentality that. And that has very much vanished. I
think that's not possible now anymore. It's because no one in comics wants to be an apprentice. Everyone wants to be have their own thing. They want to be a star, and no one can realize that I'm just not there yet. I think there was a point where all of us were not just not there yet. And how are you going to get there if you don't learn and be somebody's apprentice? It's just crazy. But if there is no system implemented, this isn't the culture, then you can't. It's about changing a culture. Jake asked from the chat for some reason. He's not in the chat anymore. Jake gone? When it comes to mag,
he says his Wi-Fi deed. It says deed though.
Well, bye Jake's Wi-Fi.
Rip Jake.
Rip. When it comes to magazines like Shonen Jump, our creators contract to provide a certain amount of chapters with legal obligations. I don't know I don't know the details of this, so don't quote me. But I don't think they are contracted to provide a certain amount of chapters, because the way manga works is every there's a monthly ranking system. So for example, Shonen Jump, every week there's a new Shonen Jump has a magazine come out. It's a weekly magazine. There's monthly magazines and bi-monthly magazines in Japan. It actually varies, but every one of those magazine installments, you have a chapter of that comic that company owns. So Shonen Jump, the way Shonen Jump works is all the series all the titles under this publisher, they're all in this magazine, and they're all have one chapter in it. And it's a big giant thick magazine, and the readers read it, and there's a form in the magazine that lets the readers rank which ones they like. And if you're consistently ranked low and readers don't like your work, you get canceled. So right. I don't think you're guaranteed, because a contract to provide you have to draw 5 years of comics for us is also a guarantee of 5 years of work. I don't think they have that, because you can get kicked at any time if your work doesn't sell. So you want to find out what a real meritocracy is like, it's that.
Right. Yeah, that is genius for them over there. Very
Jake says some
awesome.
manga seem forced to continue. Yeah, Bleach had that happen famously. So the editors, so the IPs stay with the creators, and this is partially what I mean when I say manga industry isn't free of issues as well. The editors have a lot of pull in saying, in like essentially pushing series to continue when the creators don't want to. I mean, a creator could just end it, but I don't know how. I don't know if it's in the nuances of the contracts they sign, but it has been known for editors and publishers to steer the creators to continue and just basically milk them for money. It doesn't happen a lot though.
4 seasons on shows. We're talking about anime. It's not original creators sometimes. Yeah, I learned that probably just from osmosis from you guys talking about it and how the Japanese industry is, like the voting system, and that it sounds so logical if you're going to serialize your stuff, you know. And then you look at like the European market where that is just always flourishing, the bande dessinée stuff. So yeah, but would you, Mike, consider those like European creators indie creators? Like the Silver, Long John Silver.
I don't know. We'll take that guy for example. He's a concept artist, so he does comics on the side as a passion thing. His Prophet series. I mean, they all go through the same publishers, Soleil, Glenat, Dupuis, I don't know how to pronounce them. And you know, they publish through them. I'm sure they retain ownership of their stories, but you know how much they make from the sales of each books, I've got no idea. It is actually a little bit mysterious to me. I don't quite know how it all goes down. Like, do they solicit, or do the publishers chase them? I think they would probably consider themselves quite independent, because I think a lot of them are. It's similar to Japan in the sense that a lot of them are small teams. Yeah. Writer or writer, artist, colorist, letterer. You know, it's usually is a small team thing that they take from book to book. But beyond that, I've got no idea about the ownership or the functioning, how it goes down.
We did have 41 votes for the Is Spawn Indy question, but 56% said yes. 43% said no. It's pretty close there. So that's still what the chat says. And if you guys are looking for amazing indie comics, there's no other place to look but right here on the panel. You got some amazing indie creators here. And if I could show myself, Psycho Slumber, my book, is on Indiegogo right now. Guys, check it out. We're so close to 100 backers. You guys could help me make this come true. 60 pages, a superhero horror story. So it's basically our hero, Jazz and Krim, being hunted down by a slasher in their sleep. I have to team up with Marty and Finch from the Kill Journal. Check it out. We're getting it colored right now. And I think you guys are going to dig it. Lots of fun action, really wicked dream sequences. We got some booty here for you men of pleasure in the chat. And yeah, spread the word. We are trying to make this the biggest one yet. And we are planning to fulfill it just around the corner. I think by the end of the year, we could have this bad boy printed. So check it out. Spread the word. Thank you guys so much for supporting it thus far. And yeah.
Phil, do you have like a squish ball or something?
Yeah. So this was.
Yes, I do. It's right here. Thank you.
Not you, Michael.
Oh.
Yours isn't painted. Look at this. My girlfriend painted this one for me. She actually.
So how did you get it made, and can I buy it, or how does that work?
Yeah. What's your manufacturer?
His name is Eric Hutfels.
Eric made that? Oh, that's great. I didn't know that.
He as like a prototype, he sent me 2, and then I guess gave one to Michael.
Yes, he did.
Flipped one to him.
So cool.
I guess I'm gonna paint mine.
I thought Nugget killed it.
I had one of those growing up. I don't know if the 80s or 90s, but it was like a ugly skull or something.
Yeah, it's super cool. And, I was able to write it into the story too. So this is like a dream sequence where Jasmine falls asleep. She gets attacked by a bunch of Simons, the slasher here. And then he saves her by turning into a mad ball, big wrecking ball, knocking him down. So there's going to be a lot of fun, crazy imaginary fight scenes in here too. I hope Eric could make these freaking things, more of them. I hit him up and showed him the paint job. I got to see if he can actually make a bunch. But yeah, they bounce and everything. It's like the perfect material for that. So cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, he made all my Hail Salad toys, and they were just amazing. I have them over there.
Yeah, freaking what a talent. So everybody check this out. I did put another poll in the chat for you guys. Is Mark Miller an indie creator? Camel Moon, what do you think?
Is Mark Miller? No, I don't think so. I mean, he does so much mainstream stuff. I wouldn't say so. He's also had so many of his scripts turned into, like Kingsman and all that. So, or Kick-Ass, or that's Mark Miller, right? I'm not wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the Tarantino. He's got so many of his things are now household names.
Yeah.
At what point?
Maybe he was once upon a time, but I wouldn't consider him one anymore.
What's that?
Once upon a time, I would say maybe he was, but I wouldn't consider him one now.
Well, he's kind of interesting because he's been in comics for a while, and he kind of got into like corporate comics pretty quick, and then blew up there, and then went and started doing his creator-owned stuff, and then exploded even more. So he has a very unique circumstance.
It's almost like inverted.
Yeah, I'm sure he was doing some indie stuff back in the day, but from what I know of him was very much corporate stuff. But, let's see, CJ in the chat says he also had mainstream movies based on his comics. Yeah, and he's also, a lot of his stuff that he did for the corporate comics were turned into kind of like mainstream stories too, like not the creator-owned stuff, the stuff he's done for Marvel.
Yeah, well, didn't he do Logan?
Yeah, like the Old Man Logan stuff.
Yeah, although the comic is, compared to the movie, there's not a lot there that is pulled. That's kind of being generous, but. The only real thing that is the fact that it takes place in the future and that the backstory is Wolverine killed the X-Men. That was pretty much the only thing I can think of that they keep. That's in, because there's no blind Hawkeye, there's no crazy evil Hulk, King Hulk, whatever he was called. Red Skull he's not like the King of America. Yeah, there's not a whole lot, I would say, that's really based off of that.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking of Red Skull, this reminds me of something, and this is also a tangent, but it seems like Marvel is trying to memory hole Red Skull and Kang the Conqueror, because I had a buddy who did some work for Marvel and posted about it. And then they told him to take down the post because it had drawings he did of Red Skull and Kang. So weird. So they don't want the red Nazi man.
Oh, that's interesting.
To be anywhere seen, or obviously Kang because of that actor, right? They just totally scrapped him from their universes.
I think, it's like it could be for a variety of reasons. I know that right now, DC is doing this weird retcon of Hush, where they're trying to pretend that he's the Riddler, or they're giving the Riddler's backstory from Hush and saying that they're kind of like conflating the character. They've been doing it for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
and and I suspect we're going to see more of it in this Batman 2 movie. And it's really just because Riddler is a great character and Hush has a really good backstory.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to, but Hush, for whatever reason, people aren't interested in him. So.
Well, the interesting thing about the Red Skull is he famously had a rant a few years ago in one of the comics that was true then and is just even getting more true as the years go by, where it's just like, I just went back to Europe, but you wouldn't even recognize it. It's it's been completely overrun and changed, and the leaders are cowards and they won't stand up for their own cultures, and it's like, oh,
that's weird.
I remember everyone at the time saying, "Oh, I agree with Red Skull."
Red Skull, yeah. Is that when they were trying to be like Jordan Peterson Red Skull thing?
Yeah, they were trying to make him a villain.
Yeah,
but everything he was saying was true.
That's right. Hail Lobster. I have one of those shirts. Yeah. Well, I mean, do you guys have anything else to say about the indie scene? That was kind of all the points I think we hit.
I think, and this is something that I've been starting to see with a lot of industries, where we're at this weird turning point where there's so much indie anything that it's getting hard to decipher what's worth your time.
You're breaking up again.
Your mic's cutting out again.
For fuck's sakes, I don't know. All right, I don't know if this is better.
That's better.
Yeah. I was just saying that it's hard to decipher what's worth your time because there's so many properties in the indie space. And I've said this to Mike, off screen, where I'm just like, it's the equivalent of going to like a like a giant liquor store and going to the wine section and be like, I have no idea. I have no idea what's worth it, what's worth my money, what's worth, if I even like this type of wine or whatever the spirit is.
Yeah.
And when you have this sort of deluge of properties, does it become difficult for the consumer or easier for them to just nope out?
Yes.
Because if
that's
there's
the
no
Netflix effect.
Yeah, and that's kind of one thing that worries me. My wife is like, she reads these stupid books about these women who fall in love with, mercenaries and bullshit. And so we go to the bookstore and there's just 20 million fucking books there.
Yeah.
And you go to the graphic novel section and it's just like, there's just so much shit. And like, I sometimes worry that we're not just adding to the pile. And I don't know necessarily what the answer is to that, but the one benefit of having major publishers was, well, you kind of had a tastemaker, and now anyone can do anything. And so as a result, even if you don't, some people might not have the skill or talent to get successful, but then you get 50 Shades of Grey and you're like, this is trash. And collectively, it could put the entire industry in a situation where there's so many people who are like, oh yeah, I don't read comics because they're all trash now.
I've already started to see that. People are saying that because a lot of it is.
Yeah.
And it is hard to find the good ones. That's why I'm actually pushing so hard on asking people to review and leave reviews, because that word of mouth is really the only thing that the only kind of thing you have that's different to anyone else.
Yeah.
Everyone else can have great art or say this is cool and this is action packed and but at the end of the day, you really don't know.
Yeah, and so like everyone thinks their shit doesn't stink, right? It's like, oh, I don't use an editor, I edited it myself. Well, you're an idiot. Like,
no, everyone needs an editor. Who says that? What kind of hubris is that?
Too many people.
But the opposite side of having, or the downside of having a tastemaker is, I mean, I'm loath to use the word gatekeeper, but you could run into the issue of, well, for example, we have large publishers in the US, and those are the publishers that everyone's clamoring for, but they very specifically, even if Marvel and DC were open to publishing indie stuff, they have very specific tastes. So if you fall out of what they like, you still can't get your work out there. So
no, and I agree with that aspect of it. Like, you are going to have people who possibly don't, who wouldn't be able to otherwise publish anything because of the tastemakers. But again, that just leads to the point is like, okay, well, what is the percentage of that though? I mean, if anyone and everyone go to Indie Planet, you guys ever heard of Indie Planet?
No.
I mean, go to their selling section. Every fucking terrible comic that's ever existed is there.
There is a lot of shit, but part of me would.
But surely, Rini, Shonen Jump, it has a tastemaker involved. You can't just. I can't just say I'm gonna start submitting to Shonen Jump and they're gonna publish, and then I'm gonna be able to see if people like. That's not a thing.
Yeah, but the tastemaker. Okay, so what I was about to say is not that having just anyone can get their books out there and the market is flooded with tons of shit, which, by the way, there is a lot of manga. Not all manga is just like the most excellent stuff ever. There is a lot of basic bitch. There's 1,000,001 basic bitch isekais out there, a lot of unoriginal stories, but you know what? There's tons of stories just like 50 Shades of Grey all over the world, and a lot of stuff that's the equivalent in anime and manga, but you know what? That stuff sells. And I think as long as what the market should incentivize is just purely distribution and getting work in front of readers. I think that's what's important. It's up to the readers to decide what sells. And sure, stuff like 50 Shades of Grey will get out there and that'll become hot. But stuff like the next Lord of the Rings or the next Spider-Man or the next Star Wars in comic form will also rise to the top naturally. I do think that. So I think
that's where I'm kind of disagreeing.
Distribution and getting. I don't think we need tastemakers, so to say. I think the audience will decide if they can just see the work.
But that's the point that I'm trying to make is that although that would be optimal, as a result, you get absolute trash because, if you want to say like, well, the audience is the tastemaker. I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, but unfortunately, you get, like I said, you get 50 Shades of Grey. Go read 50 Shades of Grey. Go read it.
No.
I refuse.
It's one of the worst written things you've ever seen.
I mean, even so, for example, in even novels, anyone can publish a novel, right? There's tons of shitty novels out there. What are the gatekeepers for novels? Do good novels and good writers have trouble rising to the top in the novel scene?
Yeah, but I think what happens is that the tastemaker picks the bottom rung. That's like this low, no lower. Anyone lower, sorry, come back, try again next time. And once you're in, then the audience can sort of push it up and be the ultimate. But I think we're sort of off what Camel was originally saying was in the indie scene, you've got people who, established professionals alongside people who are doing their first ever story, their first ever art, and that results in this melting pot of uncountable numbers of stuff. And instead of being able to find the diamonds in the rough, people just nope out and say it's 95% trash, so what, I'm out. And I think that is an issue, and I've seen people say that out there, that all these books, all crowdfunded books, are trash. I've seen them say that.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that a gatekeeper or publisher is the answer to that. I'm saying I don't know what the answer is, but it's definitely a conversation because it is putting legitimate work, on the back burner, and it's getting difficult to get it out there. That's just something that kind of sucks.
The only time I'll ever watch a new Netflix show is when someone recommends it. That's it. Yeah. I'll never browse Netflix because it's just too much. I'm going to go through.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Just how Netflix will take on absolutely everything. So that makes the point pretty solidified. Though I do also think maybe the real problem is really talented creatives and a lot of really good writers, they don't come to comics because there's just not that much money. And if the people who could tell really good stories were coming to this medium, then I think that's the actual problem, isn't it? That there's no money in and there's no distribution. Yeah, I think that's the actual problem, because I don't just compared to novels. Okay, I'm having trouble wording what I'm thinking. For example, the Netflix catalog is a good metaphor, but if more talent was willing to be picked up, if there was a broader range of stuff, I don't mind. What I'm saying is I don't mind having a ton of just like drivel out there, as long as there's also a chance for great works to be distributed and discovered. And no one is even coming to comics with great works, or it's very rare, just because there is no chance to be distributed, just because it's impossible to make a living in this industry because it's so dysfunctional. I think that's the root problem.
Well, I think in the crowdfunding space, that's why word of mouth stuff is so important. Like you're talking about, Mike, like people going that have backed your stuff, leaving a review on your site. We got CJ here, says, I backed Psycho Slumber off of word of mouth. A lot of my friends read comics, so I tend to trust them. Thank you, CJ, for backing. But yeah, and like reviews too, like I feel like it's pulling teeth to get reviews on indie books, or even comics in general. Like comic YouTube is so
something
minute
about reviews too is if you'll get a lot where people are like, and this is fine, but this is just like an observation, they'll be like, yeah, it's pretty good, yeah, it's great, and
right, yeah,
that actually doesn't help the word of mouth. The ones that help the word of mouth are when people go, it's the best book I've read this year, or whatever, like a little more hyperbolic. That kind of makes people take notice, but just saying great doesn't.
Yeah,
that's okay. I mean, audience
it's an empty praise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyone can say that. Doesn't take effort. I, for one, first of all, just like Michael, I want people to read my books. If any of you watching have backed Fiendish and you haven't read it, please read it and say what you think. I don't care if it's good or bad.
It's next on my list. I promise.
Honesty.
You haven't read 2.5.
No, 2.5. I haven't read.
I know you read 2 because you read it on stream. For everyone to see. But
I didn't read the words. I interpret.
Right. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Well, no, I'm glad to see that though. I'm glad to see people actually reviewing the books. And here's what really brings in new audiences is people talking about the story content. Even just, it makes me so happy when I post something about Fiendish and the comments, even just a short comment, people will say, well, that just seems just like Casimir, or is that Ragnar doing this or that again? That means people are reading the comic, and that drives engagement. And when people go through the effort of making a review, being fair, saying this is what's good, this is what's bad, I appreciate that, because I mean, I know my work doesn't suck, I can always improve, but just the fact that someone cared enough to read it and put out a review and respond or are commenting on the post and still engaging, that's good. That's someone reading the comic, and I'm always going to keep on working hard to improve the quality of my product, and that's a huge motivation. I want my comics to be read.
Yes, yeah, of course.
How dare you?
Not me. I'm actually going to put a warning on mine that unless you have the IQ of 140, to return the book to me immediately.
You won't understand.
It's too highbrow.
Just respond to any critique that way.
Itself, all right?
Yeah, all critiques are, well, is your IQ 140? Oh, well, I understand why you didn't like it.
Yeah, all of our books, they're experiences, and you must experience them.
Yeah, Student of God had a pretty good tweet today, and then Aldous had a good comment. But they were talking about art styles, and Student of God was like, do normies care less about the art than our like people in our scene do, because in our scene it seems like people really care,
Right.
And that people were arguing in, everyone was making good points, but people were also giving examples of like, yeah, stuff with not the greatest art that has a huge readership or whatever.
Mouse.
And Aldous gave a comment, and he's like, comics have more fans than readers, and that's a little bit of a like real thing that the issue, like your boy Zach complains about this too, or like he really encourages, he's like, please, if you buy the book, please read it. So that's even a funny thing, is like, I mean, we're all kind of guilty of that, but I got books that I've backed that are still in the cardboard that I haven't read yet, or whatever, stuff like that.
To give us artists a bit of leeway, though, we do spend a lot of time drawing comics. It is difficult to always pull yourself away and
like go find. There's so many actors who are like, I never watch movies. I don't have time. I'm just like, they're always.
Oh no,
filming.
I have a pile of comics.
Sure.
They're right here. I have to unbox all of this. But yeah, Jake has a good point. It doesn't necessarily need to look good; just has to look professional. I do think the regular audience doesn't care that much about the art.
No, I don't think. I tend to agree with that. I think if you're on Twitter, comics Twitter, they're gonna care a lot more. But having said that, art is usually how you get people to pay attention to you in the first place.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who, once they get the book, 100% chance they're going to thumb through it. No, I don't think that whether they read it right then or thumb through it right then, or maybe they do it 6 months later, but they're going to do it. And then it's really like, okay, was that enough? That's like the trailer. It's like you flip through it and you're like, okay, am I going to sit down? Am I going to read this now? And I think a lot of people do that. I've been doing that. I mean, every time I go to my comic shop, what's funny? So we have a comic shop here. I took Mike there when he was here, and I went there on Sunday, I think. And, I was looking through back issues. I'm getting this Absolute Power series that DC's putting out. And so I went over and I said, this is a huge store. I mean, Mike can contest. It was, or not contest, but, he can agree that it was massive. And there's just so much shit in there. And I went to the front and I said, hey, where's the new stuff? And they said, oh, we don't carry it anymore. They didn't even have a section for it.
Yeah, because it was over next. Yeah, it was kind of hidden, tucked away next to the corner.
Yeah. And just I was like, you don't carry it at all? And they're like, yeah, we're just not selling it. I was like, well, that's really interesting. So, I mean, the fact that this massive, massive shop has decided that it's worth it for them to sell back issues and, Nika and Funko and all that shit.
Yeah.
Over new books.
Wow.
And it says comic store on it.
Right.
That's crazy.
That
was an interesting store. I don't know if I remember I told you this, Camel, but I said the girl, and she looked young, the one who was working there. Like she didn't
the one that you gave her your number to.
Wow.
She said, I went over and said, do you have any Exiled? And she knew what it was. And she said, that's in this indie section down here. And she went right to it. I was really impressed. I was expecting her to say, what's that? She knew it.
But nothing.
Yeah,
no.
So the fact that she knew that, but they're not selling anything new. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's like we're going to start seeing more of that. If people are, I've never seen a comic shop wholesale say we're not carrying monthlies. I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah, that's crazy. Even like there's a very small, I would call a mom and pop shop. It's like the same elderly woman has been working at this place for 30 years. Like my best friend and I went when I was in first grade, and it was this old lady, and she's still there. I don't know if it was her husband's shop and he passed away, but it's like it's very small. And in the center is all the back issues, but still there's still the new comic section, and she gets all the mainstream stuff. I've never seen that before. They got rid of that.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Well, I think that was a great discussion. I'm going to wrap it up, but we're going to talk about what us as indie creators, I'd say we're indie creators. Would you not?
I suppose so.
In my house.
You got to go rewatch the whole episode.
Cardboard boxes and wrappings and books, and I got
this
is my stock right here next to me. So yeah,
I'll
I'd say I'm indie.
I'll do a final poll. People in the chat think that Mark Miller is an indie creator. 56%. Lots of splits here. Lots of splits. But I'm going to do a final poll as we wrap things up here. Are we indie creators?
I think that's pretty obvious.
Well, let's not jump the gun here. Let's not jump the gun.
I have a warehouse. I'm so big time, not indie.
I have a cottage. I have a shed. I have a second shed. I have
I have toys from Eric Huffles. I have a Blu-ray. I'm as mainstream as it gets.
Oh, he's back.
Fully mainstream. I mean, the Conal the Barbarian movie comes out next week.
Yeah, that's great.
We're hoping it beats the Minecraft movie.
It's on Coco Melon.
Fucking hell. Yeah. It's all animated in like lineless black color style.
Mommy, what's that man doing with his blue eye?
He's transforming, son. He's gaining his masculine power.
Speaking of masculine, why don't you talk about your book, Jake?
Yes. Sorry for being out. So what I did was I hotspotted from my phone. The Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you look fine now.
But I'm using my phone as the middleman for this. So maybe I should just do that in the future instead of coping with shitty Wi-Fi.
Your home Wi-Fi must be shit.
Yeah, it's probably
what's up, Tech
terrible.
Zombie? Well, you missed all the good stuff, Jake. Now we're talking about our books.
Okay. I mean, I tried to put points in the chat, like the taste. I know I'm going to talk about I like this the tastemaker thing and the pile of shit. It's like have both cakes. I think the pile of shit should get as big as it wants to, and then you should have people actually picking gems out of it. I think you'll probably get more
autists.
Yeah, autists can pick out the gems. They can sift through. In video games, it's great because you have Steam Greenlight. Anyone can put a game up, but then you have, video games are way more popular as a scene. So you have like YouTube channels that will pick them up, and then they'll get popular. And then you have like publishers like Devolver Digital that will like start plucking indies that manage to. They only get a start really because they get on Greenlight. Some games get super popular just from throwing it up, and they could have been shit, but they turned out to connect with an audience. Like Five Nights at Freddy's is a great example.
Oh yeah.
I'd like that example. Oh no, I was just saying I like that. I still firmly do think that the audience will decide, and part of the audience deciding are these independent YouTube reviewers and so on and so forth that aren't websites like Kotaku or Polygon. And if we had an equivalent for comics, then that would be great. That would be the ecosystem working as intended, or as it, and in a healthy way, or more like.
Yeah, I was just going to add, that's what Canvas kind of is. Although they do have people, at least they did when I was there. That's Webtoon Canvas, where I was one of the ones who was picked by one of the autists to be put on the front page a few times. So that's how I grew my audience.
Nice.
Wow. Fancy.
Well.
There you go. All hail the autists. Speaking of autists, here is the sign-up page for my book, Conal the Barbarian. You can go to conalcomic.com or bluedickaxe.com, which is a real website. You can. I think it still works.
It's not .net. There were 3 other people who own the Blue Dick X.
Yeah, there's like people talking bluedickaxe.zone. I'm battling it out to win the .zone. But yeah, I'm launching this next month, so you better get signed up so you can get the free trading card, which is drawn by Irene. It's the cute little hedgehog. It's on the page. There you go. Yeah, you'll get the cute little hedgie, which like will have Pathfinder stats on the back. It'll be fully statted out as a creature for Pathfinder too. It's going to be
Yeah, I need to do that shit.
Cthulhian transforming evil entity hedgehog.
Yeah.
So because we're launching next month, I've got to draw the shit out of these pages.
Yes.
And drawing and coloring them. This, as Phil has kindly put it up, is the very first page that I've finished. It has a very tasteful censor on the last panel that will be covered by a speech bubble in the final book. Yeah, I'm actually really happy with this. I don't know what you guys in the chat think, but for the people that got the preview book, which was our last campaign, and everyone should have those by now. They went out. I think I only had one person have a problem with their order, and it was because it got damaged, and I'm sending them replacements. But yeah, nice. If you have the preview book, you remember this kind of style of page. This is the layout, so the whole book is done and lettered in this version in the rough pencils kind of layouts, and I'm just going through and drawing and inking them properly based on this. But yeah, this is the page that got refined, and it turned from this to this. Like I combined a couple of panels. Like it's all getting refined as it goes. Yeah, text says it came in perfect. Wonderful. And anyone who got a keychain, you're the best, including Phil. Looking forward to yours showing up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We'll be with you soon, Phil.
Yeah, that's all good.
But yeah.
Launching next I can't wait for this launch, man. It's gonna be good. Excited.
And if you
I have a question.
Go on.
That bottom corner panel, what am I looking at?
Oh, you'll know. You'll know on the final one.
Do you mean
so you see that giant white orb or that strange curious white spot? Fill it in with your mind.
It's he erased some of it to
there is something else there in the
real art.
Is it balls?
It's well
no.
No. You'll have to buy the book to find out.
Sure. Yeah, you'll have to buy the book to see if it's balls on it.
Okay.
There's usually some bull. Usually there's
they
a little
sent
bit
me
of
the
balls.
uncensored version very early in the morning. And I was like, I haven't. It was like when I used to go do life drawing at 9 a.m. back in the school days.
All right.
Then I sent him the lettered version with the speech bubble covering it, trying to reclaim my good name. But yeah, it's a shot framed through the legs of these two women.
Oh.
It's through their legs, and it's like the guy who's here. He's like, don't look, and he gets like crushed and slammed with this beautiful explosion of gore.
Balloon over that, like
there is definitely a big wood balloon going over that camel.
That's okay.
Tasteful.
Everybody sign up.
Tasteful.
Yeah, a tasteful word balloon.
There's a taste to it.
Student of God says not for me. Well, I guess it's not for everyone, but whoever it is.
Talking about taste makers earlier. Taste the rainbow.
Tasteless makers.
If that's not for you, Student of God, why don't you check out Fiendish?
Woo! Yes, everyone should check this out. Everyone watching, if you didn't know, which you really should know if you're watching this show, but this is my fantasy mystery comic. 3 books in already, and I'm working on the next installment, chapter 3, 1, 2, and 2.5. So those are the 3 books. But proper chapter 3 is currently being worked on. Be sure you're signed up on this website right here. Just go to fiendishcomic.com. It's not fiendish.com. Fiendishcomic.com.
Right.
And the email list sign up is right, like just a little under this is a big red bar email sign up. So I have a universal email list. I don't spam. I only send out important updates for the comic and for the website and such. So if you want to stay up to date and you don't want to miss out on the campaign or any new releases, then definitely sign up there. And also, I have I have some expansions that I've been working on, just like I showed earlier. Today I have the Spanish edition, which is not on the website yet, but I do have the books here. Look at this little adorable digest size Spanish edition of Fiendish 1. It has been a long time goal of mine to translate Fiendish and distribute it in different languages. So it's finally starting. I'm super excited about it. So this is Spanish, Fiendish number 1. Number 2 and 2.5 will come. Basically, we're just going to have mini versions of all the Fiendish books in Spanish. And the Japanese editions will be a little different, but I am working on Japanese and Chinese translations, and we'll figure out how to distribute that. But what's important is just getting the translations done.
¿Dónde está?
Not only am I translating the comic to different languages, but I'm also translating it to digital format. So you can read the comic if you go to the Read the Comic tab for chapter 1 and 2. I don't quite have the digital ready for 2.5 yet, but for 1 and 2, both chapters are available on Global Comics, and also have a website reader. That's super cool. So definitely check it out if you haven't backed physical books, or if you're not a collector, you just want to read a digital version, that's available as well. So thank you all.
Do you know how much it costs to read the full thing on Global Comics?
You need to sign up for the website.
Yeah, they have a subscription.
Yeah,
it's
a membership thing. I don't.
Do you know how much that is?
I'm not sure actually. I have no idea.
So if you just sign up to Global Comics, you get all the comics on the site.
Yep, you can read everything.
Yes, unless or we could put like a extra paywall in front of it. I'm pretty sure, and like that PDF thing you're talking about as well.
Yep.
You could buy PDFs so you'll have them forever off the site.
Yep.
But yeah, if you're a member of Global Comics, you could read a bunch of modern stuff as well. Like the new Transformers from Dan Warren Johnson is on there already. They're putting.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. All right.
It's like it's basically like Netflix, right?
I'm definitely going to put the Lucent on there at some point.
The way it was explained to me, how you monetize it is the more reads you get each month, you get a portion of that person's monthly membership.
I wanted to use it to just throw up the digital version for a book like on release, but because members of that website can read it, it means I would probably wait a year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like if you just put it out and then like members of Global Comics who didn't even back could read it like day one, I'd feel bad about that. So like I'd want to still do that, but probably wait a year.
Yeah, I think it's good for afterwards.
You could do a thing where you could put it up there, format it for the website, not publish it, and then use a preview link to send to whoever you want, and they could read it, and they could be the only ones that read it if they have that link.
See, okay, but like I really don't like doing that because then people can just send the link to each other, and then anyone can read it.
Well, you can't stop that. If you're going to put your book up digitally, you can't stop people sharing it around. So.
Yeah, I think as long as you as a creator aren't giving it away publicly for free.
If people really wanted to, they could end up just screen grabbing.
No one does that. I sold a bunch of digital hail salads. No one did that. At least not that I know of.
I don't think it's a problem that we have to worry about. It's not. We're not putting out arcane.
As indie creators, if we were mainstream, then we might want to worry.
I would love to get to that point. Yes, thank you for saying that, CJ. Phil, if you could screen share me.
Oh, yeah. Right here. There you
go. I would like to show you something.
No way.
So, there you go.
No.
Do you want me to read that?
You got to zoom in. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Zoom in the bubbles so we can get it right.
It's not letting me zoom in. I don't know.
I can read it without zooming in.
Oh yeah, can you? Well, so
that was
the
Japanese
Japanese edition.
That's how he sounds in Japanese.
Yeah, that's how he sounds. He sounds like a grown man. It's done. The Japanese edition is done. I'm getting I hired a translator. I didn't do this myself. My Japanese is shit. And also I didn't use AI. I hired a translator, but I'm getting proofreaders, and I have some other things I need to tweak. I need some advice on the title, the credits page, just miscellaneous stuff. But it's almost ready. I have no idea where I'm gonna put it, but the first step is just getting the translation done, and that's the most important part. How I'm going to distribute it, I'm looking into webcomics platforms in Japan. The closest one I've been able to find is Pocket Comics or Comico, I think.
Pocket Jack Comics, is that where you're going?
Well, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, sure. But anyways, I'll figure it out. The important part is having this out there. Yeah, it's done. Fiendish 1 is in Japanese, and Fiendish 2, the translation is done, so I just need to letter it.
That's awesome. Looking sick. I would say you said you needed some advice for the title. I'd say probably don't title it Hiroshima. Go with something different. I'd say.
Cool. Yeah, I was definitely.
Yeah,
that's totally something I was thinking about, Phil. Wow, great advice.
Just just in case.
Yeah.
What's the world called?
What's that?
What's the world called in Fiendish? Is it not Elstad, right? Yeah. Well, unless you're not revealing it. Okay, just call it that time I got magically transported to Elstad and had to fight a bunch of demons. A really long title.
That's only like one word in Japan, though.
Yeah. It's like one character.
Mm-hmm.
How about
we can move on now?
About my angry hunter boyfriend.
Perfect. Yeah. I should definitely use a title like that. That makes it sound like
gangbusters on Webcomics.
Or how about
she called me up on the phone? She's like, "It's all manga here at the bookstore. There's one called like my Asperger boyfriend or something." Like, yeah, I know that one. It's famous on Webtoon. It's called something like that.
Well,
that was a video on X videos. Asperger boyfriend. Speaking of lucid painted death.
Speaking of Asperger's.
Speaking of my Asperger boyfriend.
You could people still buy here?
Well, you click on it and see what happens.
All
right, scroll down. Yeah, you can buy it.
I can still buy here. Look at that.
Yeah, look, if you scroll down, it says available somewhere on the other side of it. There you go.
Amazing. In stock.
Everything is available. Actually, if you click on it, scroll down, you'll find the hardcovers, and they. You have to over to the right. You're on like mobile version or something. I don't know what's going on there.
There it is, hardcovers.
There's very limited numbers of these left. So I think there's 17 Painted Death and something like 18 or so Waking Dream left. So if you missed out on a hardcover and you want it, everyone is saying this is the format to read it in.
Look at this. As good as I hoped, and it was fun watching several panels being created.
Thank you, customer.
Both of the hardcovers are amazing, and the quality is unbelievable. Love the colors.
How many reviews are there, Mike? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase it. How many alts do you have?
Of the ones that are like entered to win a T-shirt, I think I've had 50.
Oh wow!
So 50 new reviews since the things. I had older reviews from back when I had reviews on originally, and I also imported some old eBay reviews. But all in all, I think there's I don't know.
Could anybody write a review though? Like, or do I have to be part of your?
I think so, but it won't be verified. So some of them say verified.
Oh,
if you use the email that you back the book with, and it'll know whether or not you bought that product as well. So
that's awesome. See, I have Squarespace, and anyone can't write a review. You have to have like purchased something from the site, and then it sends out a thing, which kind of blows.
There's a hardcover down there. Jake's getting hard with it.
Yeah. I'm getting hard. The reason why the hardcover is so great is literally because there's some more double page spreads in the second book, and you don't have to like look in the crevice of a perfect bound book with these. So you can see the full. I'm not going to show any from the second book, but yeah, you can see the whole thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's that stitching, right?
It's just so much bigger when you open them all out. Open the page out. So yeah, we've still got everything left. So there's books, there's limited stock of the hardcovers. The t-shirts are available, but in limited size. Like all the sizes are available, but some of them there's only one left. So there's only one 5 or 4XL left. There's only a couple of smalls, stuff like that. But everything else is available. Puzzles are being shipped to order straight from Latveria.
Oh wow!
And yeah, jump on it, and please leave a review. I love reading them. And you will go into the running to win a t-shirt. I got 3 to give away. This is one of them. You could have this if that's your size.
When is the first winner being called?
First one is
make everyone
my Sunday, so in a couple of days.
So I need to write a review.
There you go, guys.
If you write a review, I'm putting everyone who's written a review into a thing, and I'm gonna do a raffle. Someone will win one.
You're gonna spend a Friday evening going through all of the stuff, giving reviews to everything.
Yeah.
Also, while I have the stage, Student of God said earlier that Well Read needs to get more attention. I will be on Well Reads in a couple of weeks, and I'll be reviewing a book by some guy. It's called like Hotel Story or something like that. So
oh my
we'll
God.
see. I haven't read it yet.
Nice.
That's me.
Nice.
But, yeah,
Who's
That's me
that?
and Jared. Jared's my main collaborator. Great guy. Very talented.
I'm looking forward to getting that because I have heard good things. So
that's good. I'm glad Well Read's doing more reviews. I always love watching those. It's good times. Alex VRB with a super chat. He says, I posted a fever dream. I managed to slap. Is your ear okay, Michael?
The meme.
yeah, it gets a bit.
Okay. Slap together. Awesome. Meme is ready. We still got a few more things to show off. We got a Miss Your Camel Moon.
Ooh. You know, I actually have here. I'll show you.
Show me. Show me.
I haven't shown anyone any of the colors. I've been doing a lot of colors. I'm already 8 pages in. Colors should be done by Christmas for everything.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, this is you right here. There we go. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Those are freaking neon.
Yeah, I like doing the like kind of fun kind of, Saturday morning cartoon stuff.
Yes.
And I have this one here.
I could hear those laser blasts.
Yeah. And let's see if I can find the other one. I don't want to show everything, but there's a lot of stuff that I have kind of like on different screens here. And then I'm also working on, let's see here. Where is it? This one. So I'm coloring this now. So, people just kind of get an idea of the process here. I finished the black and white, and then I just put that in there, and then I, just go in there and I do, so it's like turning the lights on when you put his highlights on.
Yeah, for sure.
What else we got here? This is page 6. Yeah. Oh yeah, page 6 is almost done. This is our first shot of the X-Thems together. And what do we got here? What's 10? Oh, so this is stuff I'm getting ready to color. So yeah, moving along. Very happy with it.
Hell yeah, awesome.
If you want to buy it, you can, and it'll get delivered probably March of next year. It's almost done.
Sweet. Everybody go check that out. You like kick-ass superhero action. Boots and Heels. I know you have a lot planned for this as well. And the Claude Agent.
Yeah, Claude Agent, working on some secret projects with that. And I think the next thing that I'm going to do, because this is issue 0, 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. And then 4, 5, and 6 are already drawn 100%. So I don't have to do anything on those. I'll probably do a supplemental that takes place between issues 3 and issues 4. And I'll probably launch that by itself. probably sometime next year, but it'll be 100% drawn and colored. It'll actually what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to even do a very low print run of it and then do the campaign so people can see the book in person. And then we'll see how well that does. But yeah, my whole new model is going to be done. It's going to be 95% done before I get it out to you guys. So
Dave wants to know who the opponents of the X-Thems.
I said it's Nigapocalypse and Dr. Coon.
It's the Camel Knights.
What?
What people?
Negro.
These Camel Knights. People want Camel Knights to come back.
Yeah, I know. Oh well, show my screen actually.
I thought I was
live from the lava pit.
Mr. Apocalypse here.
Oh, these are the actual. This is Porch Pirate, and he's a drone who's dressed as a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Anchor Baby, who's attached to Porch Pirate. And this is Nightmare Fool. Originally used to be called Nightmare Fuel, but he's pretty stupid, so they started calling him Nightmare Fool. This is who the X-Them first face off against in this image when they're coming in at him. And it's part of a flashback that leads to what's going on in the Booster saga. And you can, I think you can buy this by itself, but I think I may have taken that tier down. I think you have to get all 4 issues now.
Yeah, go grab them, everybody. Tech Zombies, loving it.
Thanks, guys.
And I did forget to do a quick little bonk here. There you go. And then if you guys have not read Hotel Story and you want to read it for the review, can they get it from your eBay store? There.
Yeah, there's some copies I think signed by me and Jared too, which is
nice.
We had to mail them. I mailed them to Jared, then I had Jared mail them to my boy who's running the eBay.
You have a boy that's running your eBay?
Yeah, an older gentleman I'm giving him I think half of all sales, but he handles everything.
So if you want to support this old boy and pair, go grab some comics from his eBay.
You know what the old boy told me? He mails me some good books too, but he just for free. He's like, I found something in storage. You want it? I'm like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But he says he has I think he says he has every Spider-Man. So Spider-Man 1 through 500 or whatever. And the whole collection's worth over $1 million, I think. I'm not sure, but
Jesus.
Yeah. He's a collector.
That's badass. Cool. Yeah, we'll go get this old boy's books. He's got an old boy. That's his eBay. Yo, Narwhal, we need that Grand Prix 3.
Yeah, I got to get cracking on that, and I'm excited to bust out Percival ASAP too. But I got too many books. I'll be dead. I'll finish them all, and I'll be 80, and then I'll die. It'll be sad.
That's everyone's trajectory.
Irene knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's kind of everyone's trajectory.
I'm just like, I have so many books. I'm like, I can't wait to get to them. And I think as soon as they're done, I'm like, and I'm gonna just fall over in a rocking chair like the end of Godfather 3. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Sitting outside.
Yeah. Just like, and I did it. You know what I'll do? I'll be looking through one of my works and I'll be like, there's a fucking typo. Like, fuck it. I'm so done.
Admiral Wackes can't wait to die.
No! Stay with us!
No.
Shouldn't be so funny.
It's okay, Wackes. I know how you feel. I get it.
The best we can hope for is to die completely unrecognized for our genius and then have Doctor Who travel back in time and take us to an exhibition of our work that everyone loves. That's all I ask. Is that too much to ask for?
But then you get into Bill and Ted problem where they think they're going to be fantastic musicians, but then they never actually accomplish anything because they just assume it's going to happen.
I want Doctor Who to pick me up before I did any of it, so I don't have to bother doing any of it because I saw it all.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, I was awesome. Those years must have been a lot of hard work. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
Let me reap the rewards.
Speaking of rewards, and I guess this is the last one's mine. Guys, go check out the Zaid Comics website. If you guys have not signed up already, we have a sign up list right on the front page. We have new t-shirts. If you guys want to rep some Crim, we got a Madball t-shirt. We were talking about the Rad Balls earlier. We got shirts. We got a Crim shirt, a new The People shirt for all you people. What would you call a fan of the people? People pipers?
Peoples.
All your peoplers out
Peoples.
there. Go grab the shirt, Wastoid Crim, and go on over and back Psycho Slumber. I think we actually we did get some backers on the stream, so thank you guys so much. Do a little refresh. We're so close. We're 90 backers, 10 backers away from 100, guys. Thank you guys for backing during the
Close
stream.
to 5K too. That's nice.
Yes, close to 5K. Super close to 100 backers. Really appreciate it. This is going to be a banger for you. I'd say, as the Brits would say, a banger in the mouth, right? It's like a nice morning banger in the mouth.
As the Aussies would say, it's a real cracker.
A cracker?
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, what was that thing you told me the other day? I was like, what is that? Like, what?
A chin wag.
What the? I was
Chin
like,
wag?
You had a chin wag.
Oh, that's like
Never
a
heard
talk,
of
right? It's like a little
Yeah,
Kit
because
Kat.
your chin
have
is
a
wagging.
conversation.
yeah. And he just, drops it in convo. And he's like, yeah, so these two people were having a chin wag. I'm like, wait, what? Never even heard of that.
Did you say they were talking, Mike?
No. Why? Why should
Yeah, for
I
stupid King
dumb my
Camel.
language down for your American?
Understand
citizen?
other cultures.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you also talk about where's Wally? What the fuck is where's Wally?
Ollie.
Yeah, where's Wally? What's wrong with that?
Waldo.
Better
He is
than
the
Wes
worst name
Waldo.
ever.
What fucking was that?
What is it in? What is
Even
it in
the Brit
UK?
is confused.
Jake, what is it in the UK?
It's Wes Wally. The true.
Yeah.
The
So I think
true
it's
word,
just
not
Waldo in the
isn't it?
States.
Does he look the same?
It's literally the
It's all
same.
exactly the same.
It's exactly
Oh
the
my
same.
goodness.
It's like
Well-
it's like Burger King and Hungry Jack's.
Oh yeah.
Weird. What a. Well, there you go. Everybody go grab this. Jab says my people shirt shipped out yesterday. I'll tell you where it came from. Yeah, let me know. Appreciate that. And we are going to have a variant cover for this dropping in a few weeks. So look out for that. And if you guys have already backed, we'll have a bundle where you can grab it without any extra shipping. But thank you guys so much for backing it so far and spreading the word, helping it get out there.
Oh yeah, you're moving along.
Yes. Yep. 100 soon. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, we'll do that. Tomorrow, we're going to do a very special. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th, guys. So we're doing a spooky Diaz Brothers show, Friday the 13th style. And hopefully it'll be fun. So come to the show. Bancroft, you doing a show tomorrow?
Yep.
We're going to be
Joe
raiding into
Sontag
Bancroft
on.
as always. Do you have anyone on specifically? You know?
Joe Sontag. That sort of fits. Reaper Destroyer. Reaper.
Yeah. Awesome.
Spooky.
That's
Yes.
right. That'll be good. Anyone else doing anything exciting this weekend? Any streams? Any ventures to be had?
I'm getting my hair cut.
That's exciting.
Probably
Wow.
playing poker
Look at
tomorrow.
this. It's just there's so much of it.
It's exciting.
I look
I
like
could
an
be in a
stockbroker.
shampoo commercial with those
Yeah.
luscious.
It's so shiny.
So
My hair continue to grow.
smooth.
Well, that's
Yeah, I got
exciting.
to shave too. Look like presentable.
For
You
what?
do
I
look
might do
like
an unboxing stream. We'll see.
Whose? Oh, you might do an unboxing stream?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm
Good.
suddenly really tired, but
It's okay.
yeah, unboxing stream maybe.
That could be fun. Everybody look out for that.
I'm
Anyone
trying to
else?
stream on my channel this week.
Is
I'll
your
try
internet
stream
going to
on
be
my channel
okay?
This week.
You still have a
Look out
channel,
for it,
Jay?
guys.
Yeah, don't they take
yes!
that away from you if you don't stream it up?
I've probably streamed more often than two people on this panel. recently.
No excuse. I used to watch your
Recently.
streams every day.
I know.
Now, what do I do? Nothing.
Yep.
I just sit in the
I
corner
should
of the
go
room.
back to it. I should go back to the video game streams. I should go back to killing Jeffrey robots.
Yeah. That was fun times. Now the world's a little darker because Jake doesn't stream as much. Jeb says, ironic that Jake couldn't get his internet
Well,
up
I'll brighten
most
up
of this
this week.
episode.
I'll try.
69. That's true. 69.
Aw.
I just couldn't keep
It is
it up
episode
for 69.
Yeah, you got to get it up for 69. Next week, whose channel is it on next week? Back to
Oh no.
Irene. I feel like was it Narwhal?
No, I
Or
think
it's either me or Rini. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Something.
I
next
think it's because I'm after
is
you. Wait,
Rini.
next week. What is the date next week? Oh, next week is fine. All right, yeah, I can do that.
Cool. Next week
Sure.
is the 20th. That's this month is going by fast. It's going to be Cocktober already. Everybody get your Halloween costumes ready.
Mm.
Yeah, it's going to be good times.
Cool.
All right. Any closing
shall we
words?
do the meme?
Oh, fuck.
gotta do
Yes,
the
you're right.
meme,
Yes,
Phil.
thank you, Irene. Yes.
What are you doing, Phil?
Oh, we have the
Dude,
meme.
I'm doing the meme.
Dragging it out.
Bro.
It's a great meme.
I know, I forgot. Here we
Yeah.
go. All right. Alex VRB, our boy, big meme energy. Let's check it out. Here we go.
I like how I am center stage.
Yeah, what's up with that?
This is nicely composed. I think you look great in the middle.
This
This is a lot going on here.
very, very chaotic.
Amazing, though. The creative
Oh,
block
man.
playing in the background.
I'm surprised by the lack of teeth. I thought it was just gonna be like shit tons of
Oh, all the
teeth
teeth.
and trypophobia everywhere. Yeah.
Let's see what's
Well.
going on here.
If it's an Indiana
Papa.
Jones thing, who are the Germans that she is? She would break that wing. If she was actually on that wing, it would have snapped off.
It's just so tubby.
Oh. What's
The
in the
You can say
plane?
fat, Phil. You can
Well,
say
I
obese.
didn't want to hurt her feelings. The audience is the
She's
ultimate tastemaker. That's
Yes.
what these. That's what was said. But look at this: Indiana Jones themed indie comics. It's perfect. Deadpool. Is this?
Noel looks like the blueberry. Oh no, that's Camel.
Is this Camel?
No, that's Noel's in the dark. He's noir. Camel looks like a blueberry.
Huh. Why is my word balloon tilted?
Probably to fit.
Just a fit.
Okay.
All right. In creative block fashion, we all have to say our little speech bubbles. Mike, if you want to take it away here.
Napoleon
I
is spelling
thing
Indy
for
wrong.
pulling teeth.
Yeah, that was a weird that we.
Why? So satisfying.
It's weird, dude. Where's
But pulling
Napoleon?
other
now?
people's teeth.
Well, just my kids. I don't do it to random strangers.
Yeah,
Clearly
kids'
disturbing
teeth all
the
All the milk.
background.
Gun, the handle
It is-
on that gun is as long as the it's like a
Yep.
set square.
Have you ever seen Little Shop of Horrors?
Oh, not
No,
recently.
that
in
movie's
it.
terrible.
No, it's a
I played
musical.
the dentist in high school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The dentist, who was played by
Oh my gosh.
Steve Martin.
Me.
You could totally be the dentist. He's crazy and he liked pulling teeth. All right, let's
Good
see.
luck getting high on Novocaine.
Here you go, Jake. Speaking of teeth, you could read your part here.
Here's the bloody tooth that was ripped out of my skull earlier today.
And
peace
as you can
offering.
see here, the
If
tooth.
the actual tooth is there in the meme. How
There it is.
disgusting.
Ah!
Oh.
Gross.
All right.
You know, kiss goodbye to those crooked fucking front teeth. Hopefully in November they'll get fixed too. I'll be back up to previous power levels. Look at Bancroft's teeth in his. Look at all these. Those are a bit higgledy, but look at Bancroft's straight teeth. That's the man that pulled his out early as a kid.
Mhm.
This picture is
Heard
too
it here
perfect
first,
for
kids.
this pose. How did he get this head so perfect for Bancroft? Ridiculous. Mine's not. Let's see. Yeah, they're the furries of indie
Indy
comics.
Croft.
That was the who was I talking about? The zine people. That's right. Those zinies. All right, here you go, Camel.
There's no next Ninja Turtles,
That's so nihilistic.
but 100% accurate.
He is right. He's fully right.
Yeah.
It's true. I agree. There's our little Napoleon. Is it Indy? Here's Narwhal. I think this is Narwhal, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Have you seen the fish that has really human teeth? It pops nuts.
Did say that. Here we go, Irene.
All right, Alex, why did you have to do this to me? Listen. I know my Spanish is shit. All right. De Nino, Casimir Fui, El Ionico, Sober, Viviente, De Un Misterioso, Ataque Diabolico, Mucho Bueno, Taco Bell.
Amazing. And what about this Japanese?
You got all of that from that little word bubble?
I actually can't do that. I can actually do that better.
Oh, you have 2 word bubbles. Oh, I was looking at the Japanese. I was like, oh, that kept going.
No, I'm an ad-lib genius. I translated Japanese straight to Spanish. Dosta? That's watashi tachi o tasukete kurenakata no Kazimiya. There you go.
Yeah.
I know my
You didn't get it right.
Exactly like when I do it.
Didn't get it right at all. It's supposed to be.
No, I'm pretty sure I did get that right. It's not that hard.
You want to shout out that?
Kawasaki.
You want to shout out that one?
Yes.
Here you go.
Hojio Mitsubishi.
Mike? Perfect.
Nani?
Well, beautiful
Nintendo
meme.
Kawasaki.
What are we next?
Wasabi.
Yeah.
We got Beetlejuice, Deadpool, Goutfoot, all here in the play. There's the Goutfoot up here on top of the
hero
wall.
or a
Back
villain?
again.
It's Jake.
It's a villain that teaches the hero how to become stronger through combat.
Through constant pain in your foot.
Through constant pain and suffering.
Well, there we go. I think it was a great show, great meme. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We do have one more poll. I'm going to end the poll now. 39 votes. Amazing participation in the chat tonight, guys. Lots of polls. Everybody's working those polls tonight. Are we indie creators? 82% says yes. That's a lot of percent.
Whatever the poll says, I'm going to reject it because I need to be
oh my goodness. Contrarian Irene strikes again.
Contrarian. Yeah. Yeah. You don't tell me what I am.
Well, there we go. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate the conversation. I thought it was an awesome conversation. Get those people thinking. Back indie projects, guys. Go on out there, support your local comic creator, and by local I mean all of us here. Go shout the words. Go to the websites. Everything you guys do really helps us to continue to make awesome comic books. And
yes, give us money. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the flip flop with another stream tomorrow. I'll be streaming and Bancroft. and maybe unboxing streams, and Camel's getting a haircut.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.
What a day.
See ya.